Cam. You'll never catch them all. They'll just make more. It's okay. It's okay.
I was so happy.
Fuck. Oh, topical jokes.
Oh, right. Bioshock.
Yeah, we're here to play not Pokemon.
Oh,
I forgot I'm supposed to. We'll get to those at the end of the game.
okay. Kate and I spent like an hour today hunting for a Bulbasaur. Never happened.
That's the turtle that's full of water, right?
That's a Squirtle. Bulbasaur is like
But big.
No, Bulbasaur is like a.
Oh wait, it's the one that's full of ivy.
Sure.
It's the bondage one. I don't know.
It's like a flower bulb.
I don't know
with
you
a face.
Pokemons. I don't know you Pokemon.
I didn't. This is my first Pokemon game. It's really great.
I mean, it seems good. Shit, are we just gonna... I mean, it is topical. We should probably briefly mention this game.
Yeah.
I just want to say that this might be the most clever thing that Nintendo's ever done.
Yeah, well, I mean, like...
Go the fuck outside simulator.
This is the best... Pokemon Go has been the best fitness app I've ever downloaded. I've walked like 40 kilometers in the last couple of days.
Well, people have been saying it's the best fitness app, that it's the best social app.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's like people with like anxiety and depression just like, holy shit, I'm going outside, I feel so much better.
I would love to talk about Pokemon Go sometime, but it would just be us
Gotcha.
walking around.
Yeah.
Like
a walk and talk? Ooh, that would be interesting.
Like sitting in a cafe, occasionally checking our phones.
Oh my god, it is the best walking simulator!
Yeah, no, this is actually
shit.
like...
Real, actual walking simulator!
This is the most innovative... Well, I mean, like, there was Ingress before this, but this has incredible, like, popular appeal, and it's a really, like, I don't know, it's very kind of Gibsonian. Or maybe it's more Stevenson-esque.
I don't know.
Anyways, it's a great science fiction kind of bit of future. I really enjoy it, and I'm totally not going to play it right now, and I'm going to leave it open so I can get additional steps out of the GPS twitchiness.
Huh? I don't know how that works, but sure.
In order to hatch your eggs, you have to go and walk around, and there are 2K, 5K, and 10K eggs. So when they hatch, you get a new Pokemon. But it's only open when they only count the steps when the app is open. But due to the way the GPS works, and it has high uncertainty, so you kind of like twitch back and forth about 5 meters. So you can, if you leave the app open for like an hour, you can get like half a kilometer.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the person to like just put this in like a paint mixer and just run it until all their eggs hatch.
People...
And their warranty is voided.
Kate was saying that she had a friend who put one on his turntable. Like his record player.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. All right.
So...
Bioshock. Okay,
we started this last week, and we sort of got started on...
Yeah, we're in Neptune's Bounty right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we can probably get to, like, what we need to talk about this game here. But just, like, I want to talk about, like, the way Bioshock builds its world. Based on kind of knowledge of our own world. And the way it completely takes that world and throws it in a dumpster fire immediately.
Well, underwater.
Right, yeah. Under the sea. It throws... it's taken Rapture and it's told it to get into the ocean. Right.
Lives in a city under the sea.
SpongeBob.
No, it's Andrew Ryan.
SpongeBob SquarePants. Andrew Ryan has the same syllables.
That's so much funnier than it has any right to be.
Plutocratic and wealthy and
I don't know the rest of the song.
Is he. Andrew Ryan.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Absorbent and yellow and porous is he. SpongeBob SquarePants.
I never actually watched much of that show. I thought
SpongeBob is 30 years old today.
What?
Oh my god.
That's incredible.
Okay, let's play this game.
Yeah, let's continue that.
I think what we were doing was trying to figure out a way of taking down a Big Daddy.
Right.
But
because like it's sort of, you don't have to fight any of this stuff, but it really is just like you it's like a Windows 10 update. It's like you should probably do the thing.
Yeah.
If you know what's good for you, kid.
Yeah, like
you're gonna play by the rules.
Yeah, we probably need to start collecting Adam.
Otherwise, shit's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
What difficulty are we on anyway?
Hard. Sorry,
It's okay.
by the time it grokked to me that I had put it on hard, we were like an hour and a half into the game.
Can you change it in the middle, or?
Maybe actually. Let's
that would
crank
be
it
that
down.
would be great if we could.
Yeah.
Gameplay options. Oh, hey, that's much better. Okay,
Yeah, 'cause
now
we're
we'll
not
actually
really,
get through here.
Yeah, we're not really playing it for the gameplay.
Yeah, if we were doing like a strats run. Why the? I'm sorry. I'm not trying to ignore you, but
Oh, there's a map.
we
Where's
made a
the-
roll. Oh, there she is.
Yeah.
Where's her?
Where's-
There's the plus one. Oh, dude, Bubbles %. He's mad. Shotgun. Got there.
Oh, I killed Mr. Bubbles and now she's sad.
Sorry. Sorry, bruh.
And the great gray morality of this game.
The gray morality. Do you want to be Jesus or Satan?
Do we eat children or not?
That is really...
But are you really a friend to us? Regardless, a little one brings you a gift to demonstrate our appreciation.
Wait, what?
Ooh.
Something about a teddy bear. Rivet gun.
So
I
far,
mean-
we have not quite yet advanced to the Bioshock Infinite levels of eating garbage.
Yeah, that's... Yeah.
But we'll talk about that if we do Bioshock Infinite, or presumably
most
when we do
definitely.
Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah, that is a pretty weird...
Let's follow the glowing arrow in the sky.
That seems good. But yeah, well, like the I think we touched on the sort of moral choice system in this game, which
Yeah, is
it's crude, but the thing is that this is one of those games where there's been a few games in recent memory that have tried to make that work, and I think each iteration of a game that wants to add that does it a little better. Like.
The Little Sisters Orphanage. In troubled times, give your little girl the life that she deserves.
I feel as though
Education, free of
one of the
charge.
most successful
After all,
ones so far
children
was,
are the future of rapture.
was like Undertale.
yeah. Well,
'Cause
like,
that was weird.
and I mean, I think it's also relevant to point out that. Oh, that's a hell of a.
Quiets her footsteps and increases. Oh, so Sniper.
Hello.
Sorry, you were saying?
There's not always like. Sometimes choices are just black and white, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah, and like I think it's unreasonable to assume that all of our choices have to correspond to like this like lady. I'm getting
I'm
off.
gonna have to ask you to settle down. The sort of cacophony you get in the middle of a battle with like the vending machines going and the screaming and
Yeah.
Easy, Wancho. Research them up right.
oh
Come
right.
on in and show us those snappies.
How did everybody get your phone number so they can all ride your ass?
I don't know.
It's annoying, isn't it? Store in the gene bank. Gene bank, I get it.
Yeah, like sometimes like not every choice has to correspond to like sometimes you do actually have a fairly clear-cut choice between what's right and what's evil.
Yeah.
Right? It's unreasonable to say that all games should have like a gray morality to them.
No,
and
they-
like I think when you are put into this very contrived position of like these little girls are used to harvest this resource and they are now changed by it and you can either heal them of it or just extract
It's like,
them
well,
from it.
let's think about this
Yeah.
for about 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that, like, there was an unexpected result of adding some fairly genuine ambiguity in games that I experienced. Maybe nobody else did, but when I played Fallout 4, I didn't actually beat it because I got to a certain point where I realized it's like, I don't like any of these factions.
Yeah.
I dislike all of them equally, and my perfect ending for my character and for, you know, the experience that I had was for them to just remain in equilibrium so that none of them got the upper hand. Because, I mean, it doesn't offer you a lot of choices because most of them want to, like, the Brotherhood of Steel and the Railroad and even the Minutemen, their end game is blow up the academy? No, the thing.
The place that the dudes come from.
Yeah. With like dozens of families inside.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they're doing evil science and like weird robo eugenics and stuff, but like there's just people there.
Yeah.
No different than you. So it's like, what, you're gonna nuke them?
Yeah.
The Institute, that's the one.
Yeah. It's like that's.
And I'm like, that's
pretty fucked up.
That is pretty fucked up. It's like even for, because I mean the game does its best to try and like be like, oh, they're, you know, evil, but it also just it just seemed like, you know, different end of a spectrum. You know, it's just like, you people are all shitty. You know, it's just like the Railroad was like, we're going to rescue the synths, no matter how many humans we have to kill to do it.
Oh.
You know, and the Brotherhood of Steel was like, you know, we're the super techno Gestapo, and we're just gonna, you know, we're gonna restore order by just killing everybody. It's just like the Minutemen, I think, were the most positive faction. You know, but again, up until the end, where it's just like, oh yeah, we can take on the Institute, which means blowing up a bunch of families.
Yeah, that's.
And evil robot technology, but it's like, you don't get one or the other, it's both. So
like,
I kind of dug that.
Yeah.
I kind of dug that, but I also felt weird about it because it was like, it was starting to like move away from the sort of fantasy that we associate with video games, you know, where it's just like, a lot of these are an empowerment fantasy. Not all of them, but many of them are. And, you know, that's sometimes just a thing you want to do. You want to pretend to be Superman.
Yeah.
And that's cool. And then when it turns out, you know, it's just like, you punch out Lex Luthor, and then it turns out that, like, he wasn't actually such a bad guy after all or something. It's just like, or, you know, begs for his life or something. Not that Superman would ever do that. I think my metaphor is falling apart very quickly. But, like, yeah, it certainly makes her an interesting particular kind of experience. I heard that, I think you were mentioning Life is Strange?
Yeah.
How, you know, there's a binary choice in there, but through the narrative, it sort of makes that choice very difficult for you.
Yeah.
You know, even though it does come down to, like, push button A or button B.
Oh. Well, that's grim.
So you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Basically, from System Shock, we've only really had this way of interacting with our environment.
Thank you.
Right?
You're welcome.
Of clicking on its face.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, part of the barrier to having any sort of, you know, ambiguity or, you know, resolution beyond walking through one of two doors, I mean, there's technology in the way. Because it's like, how much content do you have to add to for each, you know, thing that happens?
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of games that do it in a variety of different ways, in creative, interesting ways. I kind of liked, I think it was Fallout 3 and 4. Maybe even the earlier ones. I truthfully haven't played them, but what would happen is, like, you would do stuff, and then at the end of the game it would do a slideshow of, like, you did this thing this way, and then you did this thing this way, and then you're sort of left to just be like, here are things you did. You draw your own conclusions about what that means. You know, as opposed to just being like handed the cutscene where it's like, and you were Space Jesus, and everybody loved you forever.
To the wise. Old Peachy seems about as straight as a dog's hind leg. You keep your eyes open.
Straight as a dog's hind leg. I don't know why that's so funny.
Nobody walks into my swampy carrying the heat. Put your weapons in the pneumo, and then I'll let you in.
How come he, well, he wants to disarm me.
If that's his price, you're gonna have to pay it. But he can't very well take your plasmas away now, can
Well,
he?
that's, yeah, I guess not.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he has some sort of, like, anti-plasmid. So many Balat. I mean, another one I haven't played, New Vegas. People rave about that. It sounds good. It's weird though because like I really enjoyed 4, and I thought that a lot of people like shit on it because they like New Vegas so much. I was like, come on, man,
Yeah.
give credit where it's due.
Yeah, I mean, like, if it's a fine game, it's a fine game.
Though that having been said, I can understand a lot of the criticisms because when you realize that almost every faction out there is like perma-aggroed meat monsters, you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't like cut a deal with you or negotiate or threaten you or, you know, plead with you or anything. I just have to shoot you in the mouth until you stop coming at me.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, maybe we'll have this very limited ability to interact with our worlds. And
Out of hell, he done told the devil he'd be right back. And the devil says, sure thing, Mr. Fontaine. I'll hold you a spot. Ryan promised Fontaine was dust, and now here you are doing his dirty. I guess that makes Ryan a bum, and you...
Are you gonna finish any of your sentences?
I guess we'll have this kind of limited ability to interact with our world until, like, when we have AIs.
Yeah, I guess so. And I mean, well, it's possible that some clever bugger is gonna figure out a way to make existing technology do more than it was thought to be capable of.
Yeah.
You know, because you often see these sort of like quantum leaps where someone will take something that seems really limited and they just make it dance.
Smugglers and thieves.
So
More than likely, the entrance will be hidden.
that's why I like,
Better
you
keep the
know,
coppers off the scent.
having these so-called talking simulators be more of a thing that happens more often now, because each one that happens, even if they're not amazing, it just sort of like blazes new trail for the ones that come after it to do it better. Because like one of these days, you know, all the lessons learned from those games is going to make it something really, really special.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we have all these steps that we need to take,
Yep.
right? So that we can establish what doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you have games like
Ooh.
Oxenfree, where you go
which
from
I
like
really want to play.
yeah, where you go from like a few
Oh, hold
hundred lines of interaction to like what, like 20,000 or something.
Really? I've
Well,
never...
I might be exaggerating. I don't know for sure, but apparently it's an incredible amount of dialogue.
Wow. Okay.
Hey, your gun got bigger.
Bigger means better.
It always means better. It is.
Where's the security?
It is a
alert?
girth contest.
It really is.
It's always a girth contest.
Now, it's not how big it is. It's how many bullets it holds. I think they've forgotten we're here.
It's fine. Just fight him.
Find the secret passage that leads to the hidden submarine bay, and then locate the submarine that holds Atlas's family.
Got it. Maybe 10,000 or maybe 40,000. Well, who knows? A lot is the point. Like, maybe an unprecedented amount for a video game. Because ordinarily, it's just sort of like, oh, we just need, you know, the amount of dialogue to get through the game, or the amount of dialogue to get through the game 2 ways.
Yeah.
And now it's like, what if we spent most of our effort on weaving narrative, as opposed to, like, having the game be, like, graphically or technologically advanced. And I think that's really exciting. Because it's like, holy shit, you can do different stuff with this medium.
Yeah, well, I mean, like... This is kind of the largest format that people have ever really had. Well, maybe it's actually the smallest, now that I think about it. Maybe I should try to think about the things I say before I open.
Yeah, it's okay. Well,
Um,
there's no wrong answers in
Fontaine's putting the
brainstorming.
screws on us
Like,
in double.
it's hard to evaluate right now. Are video games the smallest,
Turning us into Ryan
like,
if we
medium
don't
we've
play
ever
ball.
had?
or the hugest.
Son of a bitch. Sammy G comes and tells
don't
me
know.
he's thinking of going to the constable. And the next day,
I mean,
Sammy G was found in a sack in a salt pond. We had no choice here. We stay on Fontaine's crew and we're gonna catch the gallows. We take powder and we end up like Sammy G. Oh, there's gotta be another way.
ghosts.
Fuck Fontaine. You don't fuck Fontaine. Fontaine fucks you.
Oh yeah. Oh, what the hell was I gonna say? Video games are in some ways the culmination of like every other art form, all in one place. Which,
I mean, they definitely
Sorta.
incorporate elements of
Yeah.
a lot of, like,
You got it. Should be
because like
safe
you
over
have
here.
you have
I'll meet you
music,
up ahead.
you have visuals and like design, like art design. You have a lot of the sensibilities and well, not necessarily technologies, but techniques borrowed from motion picture, and then the added element of interactivity, which is something that we've been.
well, I wonder if the,
Hi, Nightmare.
I wonder why that happened. That was weird. I wonder if, like, we'll come to this, a similar conclusion to what biologists have been dealing with.
Or not.
I need you for that. My family can't be more than 100 yards away.
That for a long time people, talked about the great chain of being and how, organisms got more complex
Yeah.
as they moved upwards towards human, and then, like, the idea that complexity is actually not a good metric for like the development of an organism,
Oh yeah.
and that more complexity isn't necessarily more better.
Well, I mean that could be said about a lot of things. Like
Yeah.
Technology, for example, it's just like more complicated is not necessarily better.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's just adding more shit to go wrong. And some simple technologies don't really need to be improved on
Yeah.
because they work just fine. They're like a shark.
Yeah. Or like a
Sometimes you
bacterium.
Yeah, sometimes you get it right in one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you rarely get it right in one, but you can get, like,
Straight pipe it.
yeah, there can be some fairly early successes, and that everything exists kind of in a system.
Your upgrade system is so bizarre. Just add more shit on the side. Oh, you're fucked up.
Yep.
I love the video game trope of getting drunk where it just gives you double vision and makes you hiccup.
Yeah.
Or like swaps your controls.
You've had your fun, but enough is enough. If you press that button, you'll learn what it means to truly be my enemy.
I wonder what all these red hands are.
I don't know. I wonder why Andrew Ryan's threatening you.
That's weird.
Yeah.
How does he know who I am?
He's never met you. He's just trying to scare you.
But we don't really have a choice here, do we?
Oh, would you kindly pull that lever?
I mean, it seems like a reasonable request.
Yeah.
Atlas's family is in here, and Atlas is a good man who has been good to us.
He's protected us and kept us alive. He has our best interests at heart.
Well, so far he's the only person who's, like, talked to us.
Yeah. Well, he was the first person to talk to us.
Yeah.
Goodbye. I mean, that's weird.
You blow a fuse up there? Can't see a damn thing in that fuse. Give me a tick, and I'll get you out of there. Moira, can you hear me in there, darling?
Oh. Something's gonna happen.
friend could look up and see. Maybe
Uh-oh.
something, anything, except just stand here and watch him die.
He sure seems like a bad guy.
Does seem like a bad guy.
No.
They're everywhere. I can't hold them. Got to fall back. Get me family out, and we'll regroup as soon as we can.
Man, I don't know if we mentioned that the party masks being, becoming these like really terrifying kind of tribal
Yeah,
things.
affiliations.
It's almost like Lord of the Flies
Yeah,
underwater with grown-ups.
it's true.
Grown-ups being grown-ups.
Mm.
Well, not really.
I wish there was a way to peek around corners. Just give them a sneak peek.
Let's give it corner lane. Lord of the Fishes. Come on. Hey, sucks to your ass, Mar! Oh, dear.
Get out if you can. Get out and we'll regroup.
Oh, wow, that was acrobatic. Do you have a passive ability that shocks people that hit you?
I do.
Well, that seems pretty good for all that stuff. Get fucking loaded.
Spent more than John with that crowd scientist. She's damaged goods, all right. Just like all those.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I was listening to that.
You ooze in like an assassin, and then you try to sneak out like a thief. You're no CIA spook. Who are you? Why have you come here? There's two ways to deal with a mystery. Uncover it, or eliminate it.
Oh, your family.
Man. Look at your motivation just exploded, dude.
That's bad.
Huh.
But you
weird.
have a new one.
Get out! Get out and get to Arcadia! Jesus Christ!
Hold on, I gotta loot these bodies first.
Anyway. Yeah, you sort of gone from sort of rescue to, I guess, vengeance at this point.
Yeah, I think so.
Or just something
The
unclear.
Irish
Oh,
pork pie offered me a deal. I flip him Fontaine and I walk out of here. That simple. How do I know that fat fuck isn't Fontaine's guy? How do I know they're not all Fontaine's guy? Fontaine's got Adam, and everybody wants it. Ryan's got a whole lot of talk and a nice suit. Even down here, any idiot can see which way the wind is blowing.
which way's the wind blowing? Indeed. Indeed. For fuck's sake.
What?
It's just funny.
Moira. Patrick. Ain't that just like Ryan? Waits until we're almost out, and then he pulls the string. We'll find the bastard. We'll find him, and we'll tear his heart out.
Definitely vengeance.
I came to this place to build the impossible. You came to rob what you could never build. A Hun, gaping at the gates of Rome. Even the air you breathe is sponged from my account. Well, breathe deep. So later you might remember the taste.
Ho ho ho.
You get to the bathysphere in the
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna save the game.
Oh, that seems wise.
We're gonna rip his heart out with a spoon.
That'll take you straight to the devil himself. And then all debts will be paid in full.
It's like you're also sort of, I suppose, inheriting somebody else's motivation here.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I mean, like, sucks about your family, but I don't even know why I'm here.
Yeah, I crashed here.
I was like, okay, well, it seems fine enough. You've been good to me, so maybe I can help you out.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I sort of have beef with this guy. Time for magician splicers.
Hey, can you help me, man? Can you help me out?
What's your sex?
Oh, right, these guys.
Yeah.
Hey, over here.
That man exploded.
Have I seen the development notes in Infinite and how they came to the idea of the game? I have not, actually. You disappeared.
Yeah, I just clicked on him.
He used the memory eraser. That's such a
Smithers,
good
use
joke.
the memory ray. You mean the revolver, sir?
Yes. It's a good one. Frog grenade. Goodbye. Hey, how come I can't do that? Yeah, your fancy ass teleporting didn't help you at all.
We're getting crafting items.
So it's right, Houdini splicers.
Yeah.
They can teleport.
Eh.
Today, Arcadia was closed off to all but paying customers. The man hires me to build a forest at the bottom of the ocean and then turns a walk in the woods into a luxury. Ryan asked, should a farmer not be able to sell his food? Is a potter not entitled to a profit from his pots? I started to argue with the man, and then I remembered who signed my checks. The only thing worse than a hypocrite is an unemployed one.
So, interesting little insight into, you know, the...
Yeah, characters' motivations.
Well, it's just like, the game started with this sort of like, is a man not entitled to this, you know, it's like the platonic ideal of this place, and then you see the reality of it. Again, sort of delivered through, like, these people's compulsion to leave diary entries on tape recorders
Yeah.
lying around.
Who knows? Yeah.
Is that like is that a thing that people do down here? It's just like, oh man, I just want to see one store that's like tape diaries.
Yeah.
Where they just like sell stuff. It's like record your innermost thoughts and just like store them for posterity.
Like I mean, I think we're getting actually reasonably close to that with like a Bioshock game set in contemporary times would be just checking somebody's tweets. Right?
See, that would be I would find that way more
Like organic.
more
Yeah.
organic and believable because it's like this.
The
Hang on.
augmentation procedure is a success. The slugs alone could not provide enough atom for serious work, but combined with the host, now we have something. The slug is embedded in the lining of the host's stomach, and after the host feeds, we induce regurgitation. And then we have 20, 30 times yield of usable atom. The problem now is the shortage of hosts. Fontaine says patience, Tannenbaum. Soon, the first home for little sisters will open, and that problem will be solved.
So here, you know, research notes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, like scientists
Absolutely
absolutely have to keep logs.
How did it get here?
Yeah.
Why is it here in this garden? Just like randomly. Like the reason is that like it's being laid out like breadcrumbs to sort of threaten you through the game.
Yeah.
But it's also just like how and why did this tape recorder end up here?
Yeah.
Who put it there? Like if it belongs to this person, why did they leave it here?
Yeah.
Everything's ready. Flowers, bottle of wine, even 2 tickets to the tea garden. Nothing gets the Betties in the mood like
Betties?
nighttime in Arcadia. Now I just gotta stop by the Thrifty Care to pick up a med hypo, just to be safe. Word is, this ain't Angelina's first visit to the tea garden.
What?
She's got the herps.
Oh, the herps. A med hypo can
Seems
restore.
like some poor blighters have started seeing ghosts. Ghosts? Ryan tells me it's a side effect of this plasmid business. One poor sod's memory is getting passed on to another through genetic sampling. Leaks. Lunatics. Rebellion. And now bleeding ghosts. Ain't life in rapture, Greg?
So yeah, more of this just sort of like gradual decay of the entire place, sort of leading up to its present state. So yeah, what you were saying about, you know, finding messages through like people's tweets or just like reading their social media, I think would be really great.
Yeah.
Because like that's the kind of the place where people put those sort of thoughts. You know, and you could articulate a lot of useful information to it in a way that wouldn't be contrived. So like, why is this information here? Because everybody tweets. Ba-blam! Bam.
I made them go away.
It's the memory eraser. It erases your memory of them being a problem to you.
Yeah.
Listen here, you.
I'm using a smoke bomb.
Wow, that electric shock is
Yeah,
also a
it's
really
pretty-
good doorbell.
Yeah. You find out when someone hits you because they hit you and then explode.
Ba-boom! Isn't that
Excuse
how
me.
Watch Dogs works? Kind of? I never played Watch Dogs, but it was kind of interesting that you could just like read people's
Okay, that doesn't
sort
seem
of
to...
like overall profiles.
Hack all the things.
Yeah, no, we've
hacking all
been
the
talking
things.
about voice recordings, and like I think they can work, but they're one of those things that. How would you categorize like something that worked the first time maybe, and then it's just sort of thrown in because it basically functions, but a lot of novel. Yeah.
Novel.
Yeah, it's like this kind of thing worked in
System Shock.
System Shock.
Because
And-
it was like this sci-fi setting made
You know,
in
people
like
can just leave their-
95
Yeah.
or well like 99 I guess. And we didn't have Twitter yet.
Well, and I've also mentioned one of my favorite audio log games, which is Fear.
Right.
Where all the audio logs are answering machine messages, formatted in the style of answering machine messages. So you get the information the way you might actually find it,
Yeah.
which I really appreciated. Where it's just like, we have to give this information to the player. How can we do it in a way that like doesn't draw attention to, you know, the meddling hand of the writer?
Well, like, and I mean, if you don't have this kind of thing, you wind up in Dark Souls, right? Which tells you relatively little and is great, right? It's great,
Yeah.
but it's definitely not for everyone.
No.
It's definitely like a large barrier to entry in that game.
Oh shit.
Oh, shit.
Hello? Is it me you're looking for? Oh, look at these fucking pro strats. This is the nut high. Yeah, you got this. You don't got this.
No, we got this. We got this.
Do we?
Everything's fine.
Oh, look at you.
Everything's fine. Why were they keeping napalm and kerosene?
Don't worry about it. Oh, are we about to get the crossbow? Probably. But yeah, like, I wish I just had like a short reference for. I mean, I guess that's kind of what a trope is.
Yeah.
But, you know, and for good or bad, like sometimes tropes are not bad, where it's just like, we're going to use this trope, but we're actually going to take the care to utilize it correctly. It's no different than any other tool, you know, narratively or, you know, or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be used or misused. It can be employed lazily or with great care. And I guess the problem is that a lot of the time it's used lazily. You know, it's just
Yeah,
like,
well, as because it worked in other places and it can be used, we can basically have our literacy as gamers kind of used lazily against us.
yeah. I mean, you see a lot of that stuff, and you know, the shitty games we play for watch and play, a lot of them are like that. They're just like, shit, we'll just use all this off-the-shelf, you know, tropey, stereotypical stuff, and, you know, we won't have to innovate at all, and it'll just work. It's like, no, it's boring and shitty, because I can see, it's like, I don't know, if you I'm trying to think of an example where it's just like if you bought... You know what it's like if you put a living room set together and you just bought everything out of a catalog and didn't take the stickers or cellophane off?
Yeah.
And just arranged it exactly the way it was in the catalog. Is like, oh.
Yeah, it's
okay.
like this doesn't actually work together, and it betrays a misunderstanding of how this is supposed to work.
Yeah.
Or
it's more like one of those, nailed it kind of things in that you see on the internet every once in a while.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, I've got this. I got this. It's so simple. I just have to do this, this, and this, and it'll work. It'll work. It's like, I don't think you understand how it works.
I wonder what's making those bullety noises.
I don't know. It's almost like if you were to take a trope and sort of utilize it as a raw material or like a starting point, like a piece of stock, you got to turn it on a lathe and make it your own thing. And just be like, okay, we want to do the Princess in the Tower trope, but we're not going to do it exactly the same as like the standardized version of it, where it's just like, uh-oh, you done goofed. Where it's just like, we're gonna have a princess in a pink dress and like a conical hat and like the knight with the like slotted helmet and generic dragon and shit. It's like, because it's boring.
Yeah, it's
like,
super
okay,
boring.
we're gonna do that, but we're gonna like do something interesting with it and like kind of play with this a little bit and change it up where it's like reversed or something.
We can still not afford any of these.
So, it could be something as simple as just like flipping it. It's like we're gonna have the princess go into the castle to rescue her knight who's at the top.
Yeah.
Why is he up there? Well, we'll figure out an interesting reason for that.
I mean, Jonathan Blow built an entire career on flipping that, quite literally. Like an inversion. Right? And that was quite God damn it.
You gotta
damn it, jumping puzzles. Now we have this hacking system, we have a crafting system where we can invent things from a menu, which suggests that they already exist. And calling it an invention is like this epistemological,
Yeah.
I have a problem with the language they're using here, but I suppose in the hyper-capitalistic environment of Rapture...
Well, it kind of works. It's like you get the sensation of oh my god, I made this discovery of a thing that exists already and I just assembled IKEA furniture.
Yeah, or Lego.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was a little sister and I was like, why did...
Man, you picked the bad fight, sister.
In the garden we are growing.
In a garden of vida, honey. Don't you know that I love you? In a garden of vida.
I mean, Featherweight points out that, trope inversion quickly becomes trope 2.0. It
yeah,
can.
well, yeah, I mean, that's what the moderns discovered, the modern poets. T.S. Eliot, when he wrote The Wasteland, was talking about the decay of Western civilization, and partly through the academia and the canon of Western literature.
Yeah.
Then it wound up being taught in high school, right, and having people hate it because it sucks.
Well, I mean, that's kind of how these things become tropes in the first place, is that, they function, and then they get used a lot, and then they get overused.
Citizen, step back!
I am authorized to restrain you.
Seems like some sort
Oh, we already played this one.
ghosts. Ryan tells me it's a side effect of this plasmid business.
Plamsid.
Memory is getting passed on to another through genetic sampling.
Like the little cartoons.
Lunatics, rebellion, and now bleeding ghosts.
Got him.
Life in Rapture Grand.
Buh. Turn around. Give us a nice selfie. Yeah. Other overrated tropes become even known as the dead horse tropes. Uh-oh.
Put shotgun in, man.
Insert shotgun. But what is a trope?
trope is a bit of shorthand.
Yeah, it's a shorthand. It's like how do I describe? How do you define a trope? I mean, if you go to tvtropes.com, you'll get like a shit ton of them.
I like how cartoonishly large their eyes are.
Yeah, it's pretty freaky.
Like they're actually cuter than the mascots. Right.
Bye, Mr. D. Get in there. Go in the hole.
Get in hole. Well, a meme is also like a trope is a. God.
We need to get out the dictionary here.
Yeah, well, I mean, like this is why you
keep.
keep a dictionary around, so you use terms correctly.
Yeah.
Poor Mr. Bubbles. Yeah, Mr. Bubbles got shotgunned. I clicked on Mr. Bubbles a lot, and then rewards came out.
Yay!
And that equated to a moral choice.
Yep. I mean, I guess it's just sort of like a storytelling tool or device or little design choice or something like that.
I'm pretty sure trope predates the use of the word meme.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a thing we can click on.
Yeah, meme I think is different than a trope.
Oh, definitely.
Rolling Hills is over yonder, and the bathysphere station is as well.
Like, I'm actually just gonna open up TV tropes.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Merriam-Webster defines trope as a figure of speech or creative writer types. Tropes are more about conveying a concept to the audience without needing to spell out the details. It's kind of like a shorthand, isn't it?
That's what I said.
These are random.
I like how setting off an alarm is just kind of annoying.
Yeah. Action adventure tropes. Category A. Absurdly sharp blade. A blade that is somehow so sharp that it can cut through almost anything and never gets dull. Like, category 1, entry 1. There we go.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like it's the Masamune. It's the
like a
Zantetsuken or
a trope is it's a bit of shorthand that exploits our cultural literacy
existing knowledge
to accomplish data compression and tell a larger story than would ordinarily be possible.
Yeah. And I guess the issue comes when
Congress moved to nationalize my forest. I burnt it to the ground. God did not plant
well, I mean,
the
just like
seeds
anything
which
else,
located
you know, just like overusing a shorthand for something.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's just like, oh, well, you already told that story.
We use metaphors all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're very useful for telling stories.
Yeah. Because if you were to imagine how annoying it would be is if in conversation or especially in storytelling you had to spell out fucking everything. Storytelling wouldn't work. It would be so long. Like a movie would be like 7-10 hours long.
Yeah.
Because it would be like this character enters the scene and it's like they are wearing this period costume for this reason because this movie is set in this period and the reason that they wore that stuff is because just on and on and on and on
yeah,
and on.
Like you have to be able to trust. Like a trope is a place where you trust your audience to understand something without needing it to be explained to you in detail. To be fair, there are also places where you can lose the audience.
Yeah. Well, it's like
Mama, what is that? What is that? I thought she was having some kind of seizure. And then I realized, trees. Never saw one before. Thought they were monsters. Oh, Sammy. Maybe we never should have come to this place.
But yeah, like there's sort of cultural shorthand. Like I actually did this little thing where I drew a potato character who was essentially expressionless, and I started adding props to it to see how it would change the immediate perception of what that character was.
Right.
Where it's like you put you know, whoa, just. Where it's like, what's a good example? You put a character in overalls, like dirty overalls, and a hat, and put a wrench in their hand. That's a mechanic.
Yeah.
We don't need to explain that they're a mechanic. They look. That's
Yeah.
That uniform reads as that job.
Thank you. You have saved the little ones when you might have shown your crew.
That's also like sort of ties into visual storytelling. I think I'm like combining my metaphors there.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
yeah, put a bow on it and it's assumed female. You know, it's just like
yeah, Mrs. Pac-Man.
Yeah, Miss Pac-Man, which is just Pac-Man with a bow.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have done worse, but
Did you see the strat I used there?
yeah.
It was called clicking on it.
Yeah, you just like shot grenades over and over again and you exploited his shitty pathing.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
That would be a plot device.
I'm gonna need you to listen to me. I'm no sort of botanist, but I think Ryan has just killed Arcadia. The man's put something foul into the air. Bottom of the ocean, Bio. All the oxygen comes from the trees. No trees, no oxygen. Give me a spell to think.
Bomb.
Ryan's woman in Arcadia is an old Betty named Langford.
Old Betty.
An okay sort, but not above doing a dirty job for $1. If she's still kicking around, I'm sure she's gonna want to save her trees. After all, she planted the damn things.
Trope does have a negative connotation to it a lot of the time. I think primarily because, you know, a lot of people overuse or misuse or just inappropriately use tropes.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's no different than how Unity's gotten a bad rap as an engine because people make shitty games with it.
Well, I mean, like,
wrong with
there's
the
nothing
engine.
wrong with using a trope, right? It's part of our shared culture.
Yeah, and it's just it's in the execution, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Electric Buck.
electric get some. I think I've seen that porn.
Yeah, no, that's totally my porn name. I'm Electric Buck.
My name's Electric Buck.
Double Odd Buck is also my name.
Tropes like Unity are just tools. Yeah,
Yeah.
original Skyboss got it. You know. Yeah, it's like, you know, a wrench could really tune up your car, or you could just strip all the threads in it.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how you use it. You know, just is that it's like, oh, my wrench fucked up my car. It's like, well, no, you fucked up the car because you used the wrench wrong,
Yeah.
idiot. So, and then, you know, it would be casting dispersion on the utensil.
My trees. It wasn't you, was it? No. Ryan. I think I've got a way to save the
Whoops.
trees. It's a genetic vector that... Oh, look who I'm talking to. Could you find a sample of Rosa Gallica for me? Look in the grotto. I've got to keep
I like how you're
working
just
on
being
this
passed
time.
from, you know, Ramirez to Ramirez.
Yep.
Which is, like, that's also interesting. You know, you've just sort of, like, what does that say about this character? You know, that you...
Hold still.
Nope. You've been obediently following orders from this one character, because he seems to be keeping you alive.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone off to do something, and now you've encountered a different character who's just sort of like, oh, you're some random ass person wandering around that I have
No.
a phone number for.
Yeah.
Here, you help me.
Yeah. Well,
Not
like,
who the fuck are you?
mhm.
Just no, you help me because you're the character.
Well, even Ramirez is a trope, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Ramirez, do a thing. Get to the next MacGuffin. Nope.
They dress up in leaves and call themselves the Saturnine. Please. They drink human blood and chant, harness the flame, harness the mist, and believe they're touched by the ancient gods. An aging bunch of frat boys tilting back goblets of plasmids and calling it ambrosia.
Creeps. Take out that helicopter with this knife, yeah.
So yeah, here we have like
Yeah, there's definitely more of that sort of tribalism stuff.
yeah, well like also, when was Kon-Tiki a big thing?
I don't know what that is.
Kon-Tiki was like this really popular book that everyone read in like either the 60s or the 70s. That was about a guy who was trying to prove that Polynesians could have traveled, like basically colonized all of the South Pacific using the technology available to them, and he did it by like creating a raft that they used
Huh.
and using it to travel like thousands and thousands of kilometers.
Crazy. See, I saw these effigies and I immediately just thought Wicker Man.
Yeah, but like, my point is that I think these aren't like. This is an American's pop culture understanding of tribalism.
Yeah, and I guess
Like this isn't something that somebody brought with them.
no, they just made it. They're like, wait,
Yeah.
but what if we made some graven effigies?
Yeah.
I see
What's a
one of
graven
those-
effigy? I don't know,
seen
I
one
read
of them
about
in
it
a
once.
book. It's
Yeah.
like you make a person out of sticks and you set it on fire, and it's really creepy and cool.
Yeah.
And I kind of dig that it's just like this, you know, they've just. It's like. I wonder if what's trying to be said here is like all these people's needs supposedly have been met, and you know they get bored. They want something different. They want something interesting. So they've like.
Well, and like not only are all their needs met, but they're flattered, right, and
Yeah.
powdered and pampered.
So you know they look for you know like something that their encapsulated society can't offer them. So you know, wanton violence and excess, and you know a weird form of mysticism,
Yeah.
which
but
is
even-
essentially just a club.
And I'm not sure what drives them to violence, right? Like that there is the things that they're prohibited from having, which they don't even really seem to want. Like we see these crates full of Bibles.
That's not
And
what
crosses.
The conceit was that they're all after Adam and plasmids and shit, right?
Yeah.
But then
Why? I don't get it.
like does it have an addictive property to it? Is it just like a compulsion? I'm actually trying to remember.
Yeah. No, hold on. Where is it? There we go.
Easy
Easy mode.
So much better.
Hold still, you.
You know, it's like, what if you were just given everything you ever wanted? What a hollowing experience that would become.
You know, I've kind of always gotten whatever I've wanted.
That is not true.
Yeah, I think it's just important to have modest wants.
That's fair. I mean, when I say everything you ever wanted to was like, you know, every excess you ever wanted.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just like your deepest, darkest desires. You know, you just like,
Yeah, what? I'm trying to think of what my deepest, darkest desires are, and
I
I'm
don't want to hear.
I'm like, I could really use my student loans paid off.
Yeah, same.
What is your most, you know...
That would be really funny. It's just like, tell me your darkest desire. It's like, yeah, my student loan.
Yeah.
It is done. Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's like, you have 3 wishes, but only 3. Use them wisely. Like, I could use about 40K. You know, not a lot, but, you know, enough to go on a vacation somewhere or buy a car. That'd be nice.
I would like a baseline income.
Yeah.
I would like to be poor.
Yeah, it's like, the genie gives you a wish and you ask for a job.
He's just like, and he's like, dude, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, you know, something that uses my degrees. Nothing fancy. Like, are you sure? Yes, I know my wrench is out of ammo.
To explain that the atom is unstable and more is required to keep it from decaying. I figured it was something like that, where they're just like dependent on it now.
Yeah.
So they're sort of,
Hold on, I just gotta run through this machine gun.
yeah. So they're driven to violence out of, you know, a sort of a need. I almost wonder if it would be more interesting if that motivation was not something kind of
Like, physiological?
physiological. It was just like, no,
Well, these people have been
We want to
in-
be like this.
These people have been inducted into a society that values greed above anything else and everything else. Above concerns like family and devotion to loved ones,
Yep.
right?
That could be more interesting. I mean, I think that would be a harder sell to like a publisher. You know, a harder sell than like they're all junkies and they need their fix. Okay, I got it. Yeah, that sounds cool and edgy. The kids will love it. Well, the young adults will love it.
Huh.
But yeah. Where did this "if you had everything you wanted would eventually suck" idea come from? Sounds like propaganda from the rich and powerful.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I think it could depend. I think it could go either way. I think you could get everything you ever wanted and it could be great.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you want.
Yeah, and also how you got it. So yeah, I honestly think it could go either way. You know, you could get everything and just be like, this is great. This is really, really sweet.
Yeah.
Or you could get everything you want and it's like, I have nothing to live for.
Yeah.
Because I have it all, and my entire existence was based around my struggle to acquire this stuff that I now have.
Yeah, it's like, well, if I asked for like, you know, a bunch of money, it would probably be to accomplish like, okay, you know, you ask a genie offers you a wish. I would be tempted to ask for the money to go and do my PhD. I could probably also just go and ask for my PhD and you hand me a sheet of paper and everyone would start calling me doctor.
Yeah, but where's the fun in that?
Yeah, exactly. And I'd be like, I made the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to explain to a supervisor why I wanted a second.
Oh, Kitty! Kitty. What the fuck? It's go time! Some motherfucker's gonna get killed tonight!
Some fucker's gonna die.
I couldn't believe how much things had changed since I left Dr. Steinman's office. It's like I don't even recognize Rapture no more. I hear they've been rounding up people in Paula Square. I asked Ryan how could he do such things to innocents. He said, innocents. If they haven't chosen to defend Rapture, they've chosen to side with Atlas and his bandits. So there are no innocents. There are heroes, and there are criminals.
Yeah, actually, the Everest thing kind of... So imagine, like, the difference between actually climbing the mountain and just being put in a helicopter and dropped on top of it.
Yeah.
Be like, there, you made it to the peak. You'd be like, oh. Well, I mean, it was kind of about the struggle, but sure. I mean, I guess I'm here now. And you know what? It would probably be a great view and be pretty cool, but...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the reason people climb mountains is because of the struggle, because it's really hard, and it's a thing that not many people have done. I still think it's sometimes kind of crazy, but I think I understand it.
Sure.
Armor-piercing auto rounds?
Yeah.
Get it.
I mean, yeah, I don't necessarily want to climb. Actually, I kind of do want to learn how to climb. Mainly because I want the back of a climber. Have you seen people who climb mountains?
Oh, the ones that look like crabs?
Yeah, and like they move and their back just ripples.
It's pretty hot.
It's pretty sweet. I want to look like that. Only I want to drink beer too.
Yeah.
C'est la vie. I mean, like, has anyone just planted a webcam on the top of Everest?
Tremendous pressure to
On a
regulate
beacon?
this plasmid
Yeah.
business. There have been side effects, blindness, insanity.
I mean, it's like,
death.
people,
But
you know,
what use is our
climbing Everest became a
ideology
thing, and then
if it
people
is
started
not tested?
throwing even
The
more
market
challenges in
does
the way,
not
because it wasn't good
respond
enough
like
to
an
just
infant.
climb Everest. It's like, I'm going to climb
Shrieking
Everest with
to
no
pro
fucking
sign of
oxygen.
displeasure. The market is
Right? I'm going to climb
Yeah.
Everest myself. And it's just like, okay, you know,
Dude, I was trying to listen to my podcast here.
yeah. It's like, I still kind of get it, but like, it's not, at a certain point, I feel as though it is kind of trying to show off and just like setting in a ludicrous, impossible goal.
Yeah, like
for
I don't
yourself.
necessarily get it, but I respect it.
Yeah, fair. I mean, I think there's a much
Maybe that
bet-
is getting it.
Yeah, I think there's a much better piece of insight that I heard. I'm not into weightlifting or that kind of thing, but I heard this was a really great quote, and it was simply like, why do you lift? You know, why do you go out there and lift heavy shit? It's stupid, right? Why do you have to do it? And it was the iron never lies.
I like that.
Because like it's
What are you waiting for?
it's such an empirical measurement of your own ability.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's just like you can lift this or you can't. And it will always weigh this amount anywhere in the world, and like whether you can lift it or not is like, you know, it's an actual notch on the wall. You can be like,
Yeah.
I'm this strong.
Yeah.
And I think people value that. They, you know, they want an actual, you know, numeral that they can just be like, I'm this fit.
Yeah.
And
I
I was
like
like,
that.
Yeah, I think I can grok that. I still don't want to lift, but I think I get it.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that.
In some ways, you know, I could feel jealous about that, you know, because I work in a creative field and finding success is a lot more ambiguous. I was just like, is this good? I don't know!
Paper towels,
Fuck!
ink pots, witch hazel, chlorophyll solution, even my back issues of National Geographic. They're feathering their disgusting little shrine
Gross.
with it, I suppose. Sick bastards.
So what I'm saying is I don't even lift. No, I don't.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I do not even lift.
I don't even lift.
I've got the
Oh.
security system of this joint hacked, so those turrets won't bite. Come on up to my office.
Okay.
Who says you can't teach an old hound new tricks? This batty plant woman spends 4 years coming up with ways to defoliate trees in the Pacific to scare out the Japs, and now here I am, down at the bottom of the Atlantic, trying to figure out how to do the same thing in reverse. Adam. It's bathtub gin times the atom bomb times Eve with a serpent. Let's
That sounds
go
pretty
see what
intense.
we can do.
Oh, hi. How you doing? Can I come in?
Julie, we made a business deal, you and I, did we not? Money changed hands. Let me read to you from the agreement. Section 3, subsection 4.
Mr.
Ryan Industries maintains exclusive rights to the creation, use, and exploitation of the Lazarus Vector.
Whoops.
Ownership is civilization.
Wait! No! Please!
Without it, we're back in the swamp.
Killed by bureaucracy. Oh, that seems useful.
That's actually kind of.
It is pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. 9457.
Okay. I'm sure it'll.
Every time we get a yard ahead, Ryan goes and moves the goal line down to the other side of the field.
What a deck. What's the Lazarus Vector? Oh yeah, you use
I've
it.
been killing trees for 25 years. At Berkeley back in the 20s, on the Japs at Iwo Jima. But I never brought one back from the grave before. I did, Becky. Mama's gonna
Oh, right,
build
this
her
thing.
first damn Franken
I
tree.
forgot about this
I'm
weapon.
gonna call my little creation the Lazarus Vector. Maybe it'll bring the old gal's career back from the dead as well.
Wah, wah. Oh right. Do you remember what it was?
9547.
Okay. Can you point out how distressing it is that Ryan can just pump deadly neurotoxins into
Yeah,
any
why
officer?
do we have that? Wait,
I don't know.
9547. 9457. Oh god, I'm so stupid. 945.
457. Do the thing!
Do the other thing.
Do the thing!
Do the second thing, and only the second thing.
Do I see that happening?
What's the point of being a damn genius if
I
the
don't
only
know,
ones
lady.
around to appreciate it are a bunch of spliced up morons? I've cracked the vector, or at least I'm 99% certain I have. I just need a bud of Rosa gallica to confirm my analysis. Distilled water, a bit of chlorophyll, and enzymes extracted from Apis mellifera. That's right, sweetheart. Honeybee spit.
You have a multi-part goal.
Multi-part.
Multi-part. Multi-part.
Ugh.
I mean...
Why
it is-
can't we... I want to know...
I must say that, like, adding an objective in with a thing that you've been using to make ammo and shit,
Yeah,
it's kinda neat.
Yeah, that's... Okay, that's pretty cool.
I
Or
do,
it's
I do
least-
like it when they use gameplay as part of the rest of it. But,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah, Ramirez goes shopping. Oh, the bee plasmid, right.
Oh, right.
Bees!
Delicious bees.
Nick Cage hand. God damn it.
Ugh.
You have to get Karosny? Lovely.
This is how I respond to these kind of shopping lists. 6. 6.
It'll be fine. Torched.
Working on the railroad all the live long day.
I do kind of dig that this thing's activated by a wrench.
Time to use the memory ray, I guess.
There we go.
There we go.
We are pyro now. We should probably actually take a break soon.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe after this thing.
I mean, on easy mode, this game is pretty taxing.
You load your 16 tons and what do you get?
Another day older. Another
brain.
fucking click on the head game.
Hack success.
Yeah, I actually, like, bees and ants were the bugs that made me, or the insects, whatever, that made me appreciate creepy crawly things. Normally, I used to hate them.
Yeah.
I used to, like, think they were gross and horrifying and awful. And then I was out at the lake with friends, and I met a lovely girl when I was like 19 years old who was going off to study at the university in Uppsala in Sweden, and she was going to study hymenopterids, which are the colonial organisms.
Ooh.
And we had a lovely conversation around a fire that lasted for about 2 hours about colonial insects, and it was one of the best conversations I've ever had, and now I like bees.
Bees!
Bees.
Bees are great.
Um,
I'm not super down with aphids, mainly because Kim is a horticulturalist and landscaper, and those are like kryptonite to her, to everything that she creates.
yeah, I suppose so. Well, double lot buck is 54. Oh, I should have hacked that first.
Beep boop.
Welcome back, everyone. Join us as we continue our
welcome.
journey through Rapture's clicking on heads fest.
Remains.
So, yeah, like, one of the things I really want to talk about a lot in this show is our assumption of defaults. Like the things that we take for granted that go largely unexamined in our games. And one of the ways that we can look at that is, like, gameplay, right? Like, we come to this... Pardon me, I was trying to speak to you. The idea that there are only certain mechanisms for interacting with the world, and that they mainly amount to clicking on heads.
Yeah, I mean, video games especially have sort of nailed down this particular type of, well, not even communication, interaction with worlds. And, you know, because you were talking earlier about, games being built on the bones of earlier games. You know, it's like it goes all the way back to, like, the Quarter Munchers, where it's just like you do the thing over and over again to consume as many of Dad's quarters as possible.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, Bioshock is a spiritual successor. Whatever that exactly means, I think it means it inherits a lot of, like, the storytelling tools of an earlier game. It was the spiritual successor to System Shock 2.
Yeah.
And System Shock 2 was worked on by a lot of the same people who worked on a game called Ultima Underworld, which looked a lot like this. Well, not a lot like this, but you could recognize it if you saw it. Ultima Underworld 1 and 2. And those were like a weird hybrid between, like, Wolfenstein and the Ultima role-playing games. which
They're
you may or may not be familiar with, unless you're like 4,000 years old like me.
I'm pretty sure people are sort of familiar with Wolfenstein, though their context might be the new one.
Yeah, or I meant Ultima.
Oh yeah. Well, it was kind of like, what if we took this type of game genre and this type of game genre and kiss?
Mm-hmm.
And so this sort of, is the result, and then a sort of refinement in some ways.
Looking for something in particular, I'd start at the farmer's market.
Like
a refinement, or in some cases, you sharpen a tool so much you start wearing the tool away.
Yeah, well, I mean, like that's the process of evolution, right? There's the misconception that evolution produces more complex, more powerful, gooder animals.
Gooder?
Well, I mean, like that. I choose that word very deliberately.
I do like it.
Gooder organisms, and it doesn't. It produces ones that are more and more suited to their environment. And so this is the product of like 25-ish years of evolution on the Ultima Underworld organism.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what you get, right? And I suppose you're trying to pare away what doesn't work. And in doing so, you're necessarily examining what you want to do. And what this game does well is it tells kind of this interesting story. It's not terribly deep, but it's deeper than a lot of other things that we tolerate from games.
Yeah, I was gonna
hold on,
say...
let me click on this guy's head.
Yeah. One time.
Hold still.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, like, our standards for what constitutes a good story in video games is not very high.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it isn't, because, we're coming from this history of games.
I murdered this man, and I have no idea why.
Yeah. Yeah, video games are, their roots are in entertainment. And very, I mean, I'm going to say it, like, mindless entertainment. I mentioned the Quarter Munchers before. That was sort of the genesis of this format. It is now sort of coming into its own and being examined as a thing that people can do lots of stuff with. But yeah, like the idea of telling a story as good as, even a movie or a TV show or a short or something is, we're only barely starting to scratch the surface of that. So a game like Bioshock, which doesn't have a great story, but it's there.
Yeah.
It actually has one.
Like I would qualify the story of a game like Life is Strange to around the short story mark.
Yeah, it's,
right.
It's getting
that's
up
one
there.
of the more ambitious, complex stories I've seen in a game. Although I don't play a lot of games anymore, to be perfectly honest, or at least narrative games. I play a lot of strategy games.
It's a spreadsheet simulator.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I'm not terribly qualified to comment on them.
No, you've played a lot of games. Charlie, what the fuck?
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, goodbye.
I clicked on that man's head so hard it killed that thing.
Damn, dude. So you're talking
And like
about...
the assumption of defaults is like something our society does quite a lot, right? Like why?
For good or bad.
Yeah. Like we're still struggling with the idea that our this industry that we've all kind of bought into and that we all support quite a lot assumes a certain kind of default, and that default is white and male and heterosexual, and of a certain kind like economic class.
Well, because the assumption is that that's
and
the only...
cis and
and go on.
Yeah.
Steve, we can just call it what it is.
Yeah. Well, and I really want to point out that I appreciate deeply, I don't know if this is deliberate or not, but I'm going to assume it is, that Steve is the name of Captain America. Right?
I don't remember how I actually came on that idea. Steve, I did a blog post about defaults and like what the like sort of generic protagonist in video games is, and I ended up calling him Steve.
I like it.
Which, unfortunately, there's a couple people on Twitter being like, my name's Steve, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm sure you're not actually Steve. Or maybe you are, but who knows.
Well, I mean, I think it's apt, basically. Yeah. I mean, look, one of my best friends is named Steve. I'm not anti-Steve at all here.
Some of my best friends are Steves. Oh, man.
Some of my best friends are target markets.
But yeah, like the...
And let's not forget that...
There you go.
Okay, we're fine. We're fine. Some of my best friends are target markets. I should have that on a t-shirt.
Well, like, this sort of ties into the idea that it's just like, you know, well, why wouldn't you put Steve? Steve-like people are the only people who play video games, right?
Or are the excuse I've always heard is that the largest audience are white, male, cis, hetero men.
Yeah.
White, male, white,
Steves.
yeah. And therefore that it only makes economic sense to market to them and to satisfy their demands, right?
Which I think even the data is not...
Yeah, it doesn't support.
Yeah. Which is just like, no, that's not true. Everyone plays video games.
Yeah. Well,
everyone.
As we can see from...
And it's also, you know what, it's also almost like a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy, because if you
only market to one kind of person,
then only one kind of person will play it. It's like...
Especially if the
catch-22.
marketing to those people is very exclusionary and frightening to other groups of people, because it, like... If your marketing to Steve's is... hold on, I'm bored of this already. If you have decided that Steve's want, look, security drone, you're starting to piss me off here. Have wanted only one kind of thing, and that is, say, like, you know, attractive women as defined by the standards of Western media, and you're going to put those into your game as being some kind of, like...
Trophy?
Trophy, yeah, exactly. Then you're going to alienate, offend, and, like, basically tell large number of people that
they're trophies.
Yeah, and that these games are not for them in any way. We only have several seconds here.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Ow!
The market has spoken.
Yeah, the market has spoken.
Yeah.
But the market isn't objective, and the market was something that we made, right?
Yeah, and it's something we can unmake or modify, just like everything else we've created.
Yeah.
So,
like, the market is not a sacred thing.
No, it's not. It's also not like a force of nature. We engineered it.
Yeah, we made
How
it
did
to
it
do
get
a
to
thing.
this point? Because we made it that way.
Functioning as intended, but intended is really kind of more a chaotic thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely feel that...
Although now I can already hear, like, I remember in one of my lectures, the professor asked, now, what is entropy? And this was in a first-year lecture, and somebody dutifully put up their hand and said, chaos? And you could hear upstairs the meteorologists and the climatologists being like, like running down the stairs and just kicking down the door of the lecture hall, running in and being like, "Shh, do not say the word chaos. Do not. It's our word."
Oh, man. Oh, dear.
What makes something like me? I look at genes all day long, and never do I see the blueprint of sin. I could blame the Germans, but in truth I did not find tormentors in the prison camp, but kindred spirits. These children I brutalized have awoken something inside that for most is beautiful and natural, but in me is an abomination. My maternal instinct.
Oh, you got the fifis. The weefies. But yeah,
But yeah, the female character that we speak to the most, Tenenbaum here, is like, man, I hate children. I don't like it. I don't like being a woman. Although women aren't defined by their maternal instincts, but it's a fairly kind of like...
That's a trope.
Yeah.
Like, well, I mean, it's like what women can be in pop culture is a pretty narrow set of archetypes. It's like you can be a mom, or a lover, or like a daughter or something. And that's not to say that, like, I'm saying that. What's the words I'm looking for? This is generally speaking how, you know, they're portrayed. They fit into a small variety of boxes, whereas you know, men fit into like a million boxes. You know, you can have the ugly character, or like, the sort of like shy hero, or like there's just this entire cornucopia of roles that like male characters can inhabit. And when the time comes to, create a female character for a game, most of the time it's like, is it a mom, a lover, or like
a fridge?
Or we're gonna like stick her in a fridge. It's like,
or motivation.
But can't we do other stuff? Like,
all right, hold on. We're going into the B zone.
Mother, Maiden, and Crone?
Mother, Maiden, Crone. Ooh, I like that.
One.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I am trying to run a business here. You want to spend time with my honeybees? Well, I'm going to have to start charging you for the pleasure. If I come out one more time and find you lolling out there amongst my hives, I'm grabbing my shotgun.
Yeah.
As to your question, yes, my days in beekeeping school are a blur. But I do seem to remember something about that enzyme you keep blabbing on about.
Yeah, and I mean, it's luckily changing a little bit.
Yeah,
but
well,
only through the efforts of some very brave people.
Yeah, who are putting themselves in actually kind of
actual harm's way.
Yeah, in actual harm's way in order
that they be better represented
to tell like stories.
Right, and I think that's bullshit that they're that it's such a dangerous territory, and that they have to be like brave at all to just be like, hey, what if we just had stories about not dudes?
Yeah, well,
every once in a while it's like, what?
There was that Reddit post going around today about like somebody was talking about how like only 7 out of 22 how Overwatch was introducing yet another non-white, non-male,
I feel alienated by this.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
it's just like,
well, all they're trying to do is grab market territory and
but it's like,
pander to these
wait,
people
you're
by
so,
making.
You're so close.
Yeah, it's
Take
like
that sensation you feel of alienation. Imagine how that must feel for everybody else.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, and
like just grok that, please grok that.
Yeah, and like acknowledging that everything is political isn't itself like a revolutionary act, right? Like whatever.
Yeah.
But like hold on, I gotta click on this guy.
Okay. We're gonna interact with him.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Now I've got to click on his pet. Oh, I killed his Pokemons.
Anyway. Yeah, I mean, you're right that Anna is a mom, but she's an old mom. We don't very frequently get to play old lady characters.
Yeah.
Which I am super stoked about. And what's great is, like, I saw this wonderful tweet about someone who showed the Anna trailer to her mom, who immediately cosplayed as her, and it looked great. I was like,
awesome.
She said she was disappointed it wasn't a movie.
Huh.
I was like, see?
Maybe
if you made people, you would attract more other different people.
Hold on, I'm running out of ways to interact with my environment here.
You need to get more interaction pellets.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Arlen Cord as well. That's nice. These little...
Who's not even old. Arlen Cord is like my age.
Yeah. But that says something for default, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, we're gonna put a woman in the game. So it's like, she's gonna be probably 20 at the oldest. Gotta be hot.
Well, obviously.
Forget everything
else.
What
kind of hot?
She has to be hot. Like, just can't not be hot.
But by whose definition? Well,
mine, obviously.
Yeah.
Actually,
where did your definition of hot come from? Oh, there you are. Hello. Goodbye.
It's really even that is just like a really constricting kind of trope.
Hold on, I'm gonna hit a flying blender with a pipe.
Shoot it.
Geometry, please. No, I ran out of interactivity tokens. We only have so much interactivity, and I've used them all.
You gotta interact with them more.
Hello, Mr. Bubbles.
Hello, Bubbles. It's tan.
Hey, it's the Bubbleses.
The Bubbleses. But yeah, like...
This is easy. Nothing can hurt us.
It's true. General concept of I don't want to blank or I don't want to be here. Fair. Your question that did the lady who cosplayed as Anna actually identify the character, just identified with her image? Does it matter? You know?
I mean,
just like she saw a cool thing, it's like, oh, that's just like me. I could totally do that.
Yeah, I could dress up like this person.
Like, is that not enough? I would imagine they identify with the character. They did enough to dress up as them. You ran out of interactivity bullets. I think you should just use a grenade. I mean, Professor Pester, if you don't like identity politics, you're gonna really hate this stream.
Yeah, I mean, like, identity
I'm
politics...
sorry people existing is an affront to you.
Yeah, like, all politics are already identity politics. It's just that for most people, they don't, well, for not most people even, for the people with the largest default audience, identity politics means politics that aren't mine anymore.
Yeah, it's just like some people just want to be allowed to exist, and apparently that's politics, which is bullshit.
Yeah, like,
so,
I...
Sorry, not sorry. There's room in this. There's room in this medium for everyone.
No, I clicked on the wrong thing.
And I think those of us in these default positions are beholden to do what we can to make it for everyone.
Yeah, like for me, it's not identity politics. It's just politics, right? Like. I don't have a choice as to what my identity is.
Well.
Oh, for titting out loud. Another minute spent clicking on the
more
things.
than anything, it's just like we're gonna be talking about that probably a lot in this show. So it's like, sorry, not sorry, dude. Lady through Rumble Stripper, we do what we can.
Yeah.
Which sometimes feels like not much, or just like a very baseline kind of effort, but you know, gotta. You know, change is scary, but it's like it might change for something really, really great and interesting and different.
My point is that I want bootleg Washington Redskins merchandise. I will totally fucking wear that shit.
Did you see the
Cleveland Caucasians?
That shit was so fucking lit.
Mad.
That's so fucking
they
funny.
They were so fucking mad. And it's like, this is racist. And it's like, yeah, it is. Well, yeah. What does that tell you about the Cleveland Indians?
Ray FK spit out his beer.
Like when the NFL, or was it the federal government, retracted the Redskins trademark or copyright on that term, I was like, I want so much fucking bootleg Redskins merchandise. Like, are you shitting me? The Washington what? The pardon fucking me?
Oh, wait, you got it. There we go. Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. Where the fuck were we? We were talking about defaults.
Yeah.
Which of course always sort of slides over to like, hey, guess who's the person that shows up in the game all the time? you know. But like, there's more to it than that, and you know,
Yeah,
'cause
like,
there's a lot of defaults, you know.
And I mean, like, I don't think the designers of this game, like, particularly,
well, that's the
I don't think they consciously chose to make this character a white man.
yeah. I
Right,
mean,
and
you sort
he
of
definitely is, right? This character is definitely a white male. Like, look at the hands, yo.
yeah. Well, like that's the thing is like I think it's unintentional. I don't think
It's totally unintentional.
or
right?
like it. I don't think it's very often, if ever, done out of malice. It's just
No.
people, you know. If you've lived as this person, you know, you're just like, I'm going to draw a person, and my
Yeah.
default in my mind is myself.
Yeah.
There's nothing necessarily wrong with that.
No,
it's just
no,
like,
there's nothing wrong with making with modeling your characters after yourself.
Yeah,
right.
but-
Like it's the easiest. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it's like the most natural thing to do.
Yeah.
Is to tell your own story.
And-
And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's why it's important that we get many different voices telling these
Oh
stories.
yeah. Because there's, you know, the temptation. There was a conversation I'm going to try and recall about, you know, we were talking about diversity, and it was just like, oh, you know, these big publishers and these big, you know, story people have to tell stories about different people, and I'm like, yes,
Speaking of visual storytelling,
yeah, whoops,
the good old Cobain special.
Jesus.
Ooh,
He still has
yeah,
his
that
books
was
on.
inappropriate.
Yeah, that was inappropriate. And it's like, yeah, you know, you should try and tell stories about, you know, different experiences and stuff. But as or maybe more important than that, different people who have, like, different creators who have lived those experiences need to be able to tell their own stories.
Yeah, well, a good way of telling those stories is to invite people to tell those stories.
Yeah.
To tell their stories.
I think that the point that was made, the magic word that made me sort of grok it was that it's like, you know,
I was all ready to click on the head, and the head went away.
because I was talking about, it's like, oh, I should have a podcast where I invite, you know, people of, you know, various minorities on to, like, tell their stories. And the person was like, I like what you're trying to do, but you shouldn't have to curate what you think is a worthwhile story
Yeah, okay,
from
yeah,
those
yeah.
people. And I was like, holy shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Because I'm still curating, you know, other people's experiences. Like, they need to just do their own fucking thing and be heard and, you know, be listened to and understood. And it's just like, oh, fuck. So, you know, we need both.
Yeah.
You know, I do what I can to try and tell stories about, you know, different people that are not like me. You know, I sort of go out of my way to try and do that. I think it's a little clumsy, but, you know, I do what I can. But yeah, just as important, maybe more important, is, you know, different creators.
Yeah, exactly. It's
From
like
all walks of life.
I'm not. Yeah.
Because I tell you what, I kind of want to hear those stories.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't want to hear some of them, which is fine. I think they should be made
Yeah.
because people.
I'm not in a position to tell anyone what can and cannot exist. I mean,
Yeah, I feel as though it ought to exist because, like, even if content exists and it's like, it's not really my thing, but it's like, so
it might be
doesn't
somebody's
have
thing.
to be for me.
It was at least one person's thing.
Yep. Yeah, I guess rather than just sort of like, I mean, I think it's sort of beholden to anybody who has a big, loud, you know, social media or other kind of voice to just be like, hey, I know you like my stuff, but what you need to do is go over there and check out their shit. You go check that shit out. I think it's great, but, you know, you check it out. Is he wearing a football helmet?
Looks like it.
I
mean,
that didn't protect him from bullets at all.
No. You know what still is my favorite moment on any of our shared streams?
What?
Your first stream for what was that first-person shooter set
Oh,
in like
Metro.
Metro?
Yeah.
Yeah, where you were like,
What do you
think-
suppose his hopes and dreams are? Let's
Like-
find out.
Yeah.
Bang!
Let's open her up and find out.
Yeah, football.
Oh, that's ragdoll physics. Yeah, the shotgun gears. The shotguns, the gears increase rate of fire.
Yep, they do.
Apparently, adding more mechanical opponents improves rate of fire.
They just whined randomly. That's very silly.
Hi, Mr. Bubbles. Where's your little friend?
We need to extract from her some material. More gears.
There you are.
Yeah, I wish I could hear some of the voice samples a little better, because... Oh!
Wow. Mr. Bubbles does not tolerate fools.
You know what grinds my gears? Shotguns.
Oh, we blew her mask right off.
Womp womp. You collected glue?
There was glue inside the splicer.
Get ye to the glue factory. That's scary. Goodbye.
That feel when your shotgun is out of interactivity tokens.
So, like, what are some other defaults we can observe?
I mean, like, the one that this game actually does a very good job of talking about is our impulse to just do violence to other things, right? Like, a lot of hay is made in this game about, you know, like the violent nature of man.
Yep. Which we talked a lot about last time.
Which we're actually modeling here, and the game shames us for modeling.
In 10 years in this dump, I've come to accept a very low standard of life. But even at the bottom of this fish tank, a man must have standards. The pathetic trou de cul down at Morley Winery has started putting water to his terrible wine. Water!
Trou de cul is not something you should be able to say in a game with this age rating.
Pierre, this is not to worry. The water, she is distilled. It could be worse. I could take it right from the ocean.
Gross.
Oh, my ridiculous French accent. She is, how you say, not very good. Yeah.
French is a beautiful language. English,
I don't know.
Yeah.
English is a beautiful language, IMO.
Bees!
Bees!
It's time for bees. Well, yeah, like... I mean, like, first-person shooters as a genre, it's like, it's a thing that works.
Yep.
And it's a thing that's fun, and everything that,
Yeah, it means asshole, yeah. I suppose they are swearing a lot. Insect swarm.
Nope, losing my train of thought. Do you think somebody has to be good at a game to be able to comment on it?
No.
No, not at all.
No.
You don't need to be a botanist to say that the forest is on fire.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to be a structural engineer to say that the building fell over.
Yeah.
That having been said, you may have more insight into why those things
Yeah,
are
exactly.
But you can make observations that are useful.
Proficiency is useful, but not a prerequisite.
Yeah.
And especially the insight of somebody who is an outsider can be very useful.
Yeah.
Like, ask somebody who doesn't play video games why they don't like video games, and you'll get some interesting answers. Not all of them will be accurate, but some of them will be, like, very incisive.
I've actually not spoken to anybody who doesn't like video games well, I can't remember.
I mean, I have elder family members.
Yeah, it's just like, well, just a fucking waste of time.
Yeah?
Well, but that's a stereotype. When was the last time you actually spoke to someone who actually
my eldest uncle right now got me into video games. I played Rogue at his house on a floppy disk.
Interesting. I mean, it's like that. You sort of have to filter that kind of insight through your own kind of judgment, because it's like somebody with a completely outside perspective might observe something you might not have thought about because they don't have the context that everybody else does. Or just like, this story's really long. It's like, wait, oh shit, you're right, it is really long. You know, that's just like, you know, I'm sort of joking there, but. Excuse me.
I have no idea how this system wants to work.
Yep. Your parents don't play video games because they find them a bit too complicated for their desires. They have gotten a little complicated, some of them.
Well, I mean, like, that's a bit at odds with what I've heard about video games, which is that they've gotten simplified.
It kind of depends.
Well, yeah, I think it depends a lot on the game.
While this very instability is what gives it its amazing properties, it is also what causes the cosmetic and mental damage. You need more and more Adam just to keep back the tide. From a medical standpoint, this is catastrophic. From a business standpoint, well, Fontaine sees the possibilities.
Jeez. Default graphics needing to be beautiful. Kind of? But it's like, which definition of beautiful, right?
Yeah, like,
'Cause, like
last night when we were playing Video Ball, people were complaining about the graphics and saying it looked like a PS2 game.
what?
And it's like,
You know, even if
like,
that was
so
true.
what?
So what? Yeah,
It
well,
does,
it's like,
the graphics, like, they accomplish what they need to accomplish.
yeah. It's like Undertale, for example. It's
Yeah.
like people could say, "Oh, why does this indie shit have such shitty graphics, and why is it so popular?" It's like, it accomplishes what it needs to, you know, and is using that style as a device to sort of make the experience happen.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, you know, aping on and kind of paying homage to older games. But, like, it works. It also just looks really good because it's
Yeah.
well designed.
Like, you could ask a brutalist architect why their buildings don't have all kinds of frilly crap on them and are kind of like low fidelity.
Like, because we wanted something simple.
Yeah, like that was the point.
Yeah.
Whether it worked or not is debatable, but I mean,
Smoke bees every
Smoke
day. Smoke bees.
smoke bees
Smoke
every
bees.
day.
Bees. Smoke bees.
Get ready for the next episode.
Smoke bees every. I'm sorry.
You have to wait for it, dude. It's like 15 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, I will agree with you in as much as this sort of push towards, you know, having just the most polygons and the most shaders and the most effects and the most particles and the highest, you know, poly models, which sometimes does not have an enhancing effect on the game at all.
No.
Sometimes it's just bloat and wasted budget, and like the game ends up shitty anyway.
How many bees do we have? Did we
50?
collect enough bees?
I have no idea. You should check it out.
All right, let's go see if there are more bees.
Yeah, sometimes really good graphics can have an enhancing effect on an existing experience. But good graphics are never going to save a shitter. You can't gild lilies. You can't polish a turd.
You can totally polish a turd.
Yeah,
it's
it'll
just-
still be a turd.
Yeah. I've definitely seen I've edited some highly polished turds in my time, let me tell you what.
The original 3D printer, your ass.
Hold on, I'm just gonna fire a Tommy gun into a beehive.
Yeah, Memo points out, like, photorealistic texture packs for Minecraft. I do not understand those. They're so weird to me.
Yeah, well, they actually wind up looking like unreal.
Yeah, they end up looking very peculiar, I find. And it's like, you know, use whatever you want. There's, you know, some people want it, but it's just like, I think it looks very, very peculiar.
Yeah, I mean, like it photorealism in that it still remains incredibly stylized. It's very, like, it's unusual. I don't even dislike it. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, Uncanny Valley. Where it's just like, yeah, this is a photorealistic brick texture that is at exact right angles across all geometry. It's like,
Yeah.
that's fucking weird.
No, wait, we went to the wrong arrow.
Yeah, I just think that Minecraft's low fidelity texturing is part of its aesthetic.
Oh, yeah.
So,
He wants us to get more bees.
more bees! More bees!
Smoke bees every day. smoke memes every day.
Dude, the dankest memes.
There's one bee we have not. That bee made a really odd noise.
Okay. You have a... Oh, wait. Hold on. Where did this go? You have a strange fear that if video games become so real, it'll be like Inception. I don't know. Like, maybe it'll just become like any other media where a lot of people play it and it's super popular, but it like doesn't take over the world.
Ooh, that
Right?
Mr. Bubbles got fucked up.
He did get fucked up.
I wonder what happened to Mr. Bubbles.
You know, because it's like, even video games, a shit ton of people play it, but that same shit ton of people do other stuff, and a lot of people don't play it. You know, if we were to create completely, you know, realistic alternate worlds, you know, like the Matrix or something, and like there's a lot of people who are worried that's like, oh, we'll just spend our whole lives plugged in, and it's like, maybe some people will do that. I feel like a lot of people will probably visit it like a holiday.
Yeah.
Some people will try it and be like, it just kind of sucks. It's too clean or something like that, and it'll just be a thing.
Yeah, it's like there are plenty of people right now who choose not to live in the most, like, patronizing environment possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, it's also like, we don't need super high technology for people to withdraw from society entirely. That's already happening. A lot of people, well, I mean, like...
Oh, that was a bad time to run out of the ammos.
That is a bad time. It's like, you know, now you've got us talking about hikikomori. It's just like, they don't need high tech, they just need anime. Those poor bastards. I saw a documentary about people who live in internet cafes.
Oh, yeah?
It was...
Hold on, I'm gonna pipe this man.
It was interesting, and not quite what I expected. You know, because at least one of the guys they interviewed was just like, yeah, this is fine for now, but, you know, this is no way to live. So, yeah. But yeah, there's this... It's this... You know, it's yet another one of those, like...
Thank you, mister.
Hello!
Huh.
Hi! One of those,
I was trying to have a meaningful conversation with somebody I had chosen to rescue in a deeply moral choice.
Yeah, one of those...
now I'm going to kill you.
You know, nightmare scenarios where it's like, oh my god, they'll make a game so good that everyone on Earth will play it.
They'll make a hot dog so big
that everyone will eat it. It's like, it won't happen.
Well, I mean,
it
like,
will be very popular. A lot of people will play it. You know, for people who can fucking afford it. And then a bunch of people will also not. There'll be a lot of, you know, groups being like, oh no, don't do the thing. It's bad for you.
I mean, maybe they will. And, like, there's a question there of, like, so what?
Yeah, also, so what? There was this sign I saw, I think Sick Future or something reblogged it, and there was a thing, it's like, we spend so-and-so percentage of our time in our virtual worlds, you know, rather than outside. And I was like, so?
Yeah.
How weird that we spend more time in a world crafted to suit our exact needs and desires rather than outside, which in some situations I think is highly overrated. And I don't mean that as like a joke. It's just like there's this sort of romanticized ideal of like, oh, you know, we belong outside. It's like, yes, with the insects and the cholera and all that other stuff.
Well,
it's like,
there's a line I love from somebody I follow, from an architect I follow on Twitter that reads, our natural habitat has yet to be built.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would argue that our natural habitat is indoors. Like, for humans, I think it's absolutely indoors.
Well, yeah, you can
At
tell
least
because
in
we build them fucking everywhere.
Exactly. So it's like, you know, that having been said, you should get outside, you know, because
I mean, it's
nice.
It's interesting. I mean, like, the breeze is good. There's sunlight. There's stars up there that make you think about things.
Yeah.
But
Children. their very long needles, their tuneless songs, their ghastly errands, their ghoulish Frankenstein fathers. But we've all placed our hand on the great chain of endeavor. My hand is on it. Fontaine's is on it. We all pull it and are pulled by it. Yes, these children are an abomination. But it is not my hand alone on the chain that created them. No. Their little fingers were right there, next to mine.
Like how,
Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, like, I'd like to submit a bug report on real life.
yeah.
We
Well,
fixed an issue where some people had more economic advantage than others.
You know, it's just like some people bring up the criticism. It's like, well, it's not real. It's like,
Yeah,
so?
it is.
Well, A, yes, it is, and B, even if it wasn't, it's still valuable.
Yeah,
So what?
yeah.
You know, you can have great experiences indoors. You can have great experiences outdoors.
Yeah.
You can have miserable experiences in both places.
yeah, like,
One is not better
What does
than the
real
other.
mean?
Yeah, like
It definitely exists. Like, it absolutely exists. What are we missing? Chlorophyll.
Get the chlorophyll.
Get the chlorophyll, yeah.
That was a mob that we did not pick up. Don't worry about it.
Explore Arcadia and the Farmer's Market. Saturnine, Cult of Teleportings. We have to kill all the fucking teleporters.
Boo.
Ugh.
Please extract all these bare asses from these perma-aggroed NPCs. We've gone existentialism. Oh, we were existentialists way long ago. I don't know, man. I think there's just so fucking much hand-wringing and chicken little sky falling bullshit about, you know, virtual spaces and all this other crap. It's like...
I would say the Death of the Author is a useful tool. The Death of the Author, if you're not familiar with it, is an essay by Roland Barthes. Basically, I think it's Barthes. But it says that the author is something that we pay way too much attention to, especially the issue of authorial intent with regard to what a story means or what it can mean. Especially considering that there's a lot of stories whose authorial intent we will never know. We don't even know how many people Homer was, right? When the Iliad and the Odyssey were written.
Or, you know, whether Shakespeare was Shakespeare and or Bacon.
Yeah, and or anybody else. So, like, we can't really pay that much attention to what the author wants us to extract from their stories, because unless they put it there, then, like, what the fuck do we know, right? And there's a certain amount of uncertainty involved with fiction. Whereas if you wanted perfectly deterministic... Lady, I'm trying to have a conversation here.
There you go.
If you wanted perfectly deterministic conversation or works of fiction, you would write an essay.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's just like, here is exactly what I
I'm
mean
trying
to say. And yeah, that's exactly what an essay is. Like, here's my shit. Here's how you're supposed to think about it.
Yeah.
As opposed to a story which is less like, here's a thing that happened, maybe.
Yeah. Like an essay is like, here is the point.
Yeah.
And here is all of the things that support it.
Here's my work.
And a work of fiction is like, here is pointedly not the point.
Here is stuff. Enjoy.
Yeah, maybe it has a point.
Enjoy or not enjoy. And it's
Yeah.
just like, even, you know...
And that's what kind of gives it a timeless quality. I mean, like, I'm not necessarily I agree with Death of the Author in every situation.
No.
There are a lot of situations where we know quite a lot about the author, and we know what they contributed to it and what they thought was important. And we should consider that. But we should consider that, not necessarily take it as the only possible reading. Because what we're doing here is we're not absolutely saying what something means. we're offering readings about it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
those readings are necessarily informed by the people we are and the situation in which we exist. Right? So our commentary is from a certain place in time and from a certain perspective, which is what fiction also is. And if you think about it, it's totally weird that people can read objectively the same text and get wildly different things from it. That's weird. That's deeply weird.
and
it's
also
wonderful.
super cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you were talking about Donnie Darko, about how sometimes like the death of the author is a really good thing, because sometimes the author, when they get their hands back on the work, it sucks.
Yeah.
Or like you have like the original Star Wars movie. Did that crash?
No.
No.
No. Do not.
Where it's like George just decides to go back and fuck with the movie. Which would be fine, because it's his right to do so. The only thing that really bothered me about the special editions was his insistence on making those the de facto versions.
Yeah.
And trying to like erase from history the originals. It's like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
You can make as many like remixes or whatever of your
especially
work as
considering
you
like
want.
yeah, like I think that's actually like a very compelling argument for death of the author, but not even necessarily in the way that you think of it is, because like not only should George Lucas not be allowed to erase things, but like he is also practicing death of the author there, where he's saying like, what I originally did with these is not what I actually wanted to do with them.
That's so weird.
Right? Like, even he's saying that his authorial intent with the original releases of those films is not sacred. It's what he should want now as a product of 30 years of development in film craft and storytelling and marketing over where he was to begin with. I think we're goozled here.
Fuck. Tab it. End task.
Not responding.
Not responding.
Well, like Ignatius Pants, I think that's in one part true, but in another part it really robs the ability of a text to be timeless, right? Like Don Quixote was supposed to be a clown. Like Don Quixote was originally supposed to be kind of a funny story about like this dumb guy who goes out and hurts himself in a bunch of stupid ways trying to be a knight.
Yeah.
And now we view him as like this deeply pathetic character who is deserving of sympathy. And Falstaff from Merry Wives of Windsor and Henry IV and Henry V was supposed to be kind of the same thing. Like he was supposed to be kind of the good old English Homer Simpson, right? And now we view him as like this very sad character who is kind of exploited by... Did we actually also crash Windows here?
Oh, sweet.
Did we use up all the RAMs?
All the RAM's gone. Oh, no, there we go. Oh, yeah, got there.
Got there, okay.
Got there.
Let's see when we last saved.
It's probably auto-saved.
Yeah.
Bioshock. Excuse me.
Yeah, and Don Quixote is a funny story. But, I mean, like, if you want your audience to get only one message out of what you write an essay.
Yeah, or just be like needlessly explicit in your fiction, which might make it kind of bad and overwrought.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's why I don't. One of the reasons why I don't like, overly explicit narratives.
Oh, do we have Chrome open?
Do we? Should that be?
Why do
doing
we
a
have
thing?
Chrome open?
Because here is everything. Feel this exact. Whoa, sir. What is going on?
What's inside the gaming box?
Pain. Okay. Almost. There we go.
There we go.
One time. Man, the game heard we were talking shit about it and decided no.
Like, Divine Comedy, right? Like in Inferno, Dante goes through, the pilgrim goes through and encounters all these people that nobody has any idea who the fuck they are. But they were deeply important to Dante, right? Basically, he's going through and he's encountering all these people from, like, 17th century or 16th century Italy, who were very important to the...
The shit's fucking broke. We should restart the computer.
Shit's on fire, yo.
Check them. Wait, no. I'm such an asshole. It's a weird moment.
Yeah.
We may actually need to restart the computer.
Yeah,
Or,
do you
or-
want to take a break?
Well,
Let's-
we're almost out of time, so you
Okay.
know what we should do is just go to the booth and continue.
Yeah,
this for
maybe
30
we can
minutes.
just talk about this. Like, Death of the Author, I think is definitely not a panacea, and it's not an all times appropriate thing. But I think it's definitely one of our useful tools in the toolbox of criticism. And when an author comes out and says, "Well, you can't interpret my story in such a way because I didn't put it there."
Fuck you, watch me.
Yeah, it's like, well, like, one, it's
Or
not exclusively
respectfully
your
fun.
story, right? Like, stories can tell us all kinds of things, and they aren't necessarily about what the author wants us to see there. Like, Inferno tells us a lot about the values of its particular context, right? Of its time and place and what Dante thought was important. And he can say, well, you're not allowed to read that politician this way. And we're like, we're not reading the politician this way. We're also looking at the context in which you wrote this story and looking at, like, what the kind of, not what kind of person you are, but what kind of society the story was written in. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's way more interesting than whatever you thought it meant. Right? That gives us way more insight into what people were like around your time. Right? Like, Bioshock will tell us things about the 21st century long after, like, people have stopped being able to, like, long after Ayn Rand has fallen into obscurity. People will look at this story and be like, well, maybe they will. I don't know. I don't know if this is timeless, but presuming Bioshock goes on into the future in some way.
I was going to say more that, like, the style of game may tell us more about, you know, like, the particular era that it was made in. It's just like, man, remember when we made games that were only about shooting people, but they were still kind of cool and pretty and stuff, and they tried to tell these, like, awkward-ass stories?
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
Or it's just like, you know, what were we thinking when we told this sort of narrative at this moment in time? Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like Rocketman 210. Yeah, the prince absolutely needs context, right? Like, people look at it as, like, people, 19-year-old men look at it as if it's some kind of instruction manual on how to run a state, being like, it's better to be feared than loved,
or not,
or it's a satire, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe that doesn't work.
Or
right?
it's like, I mean, better along what axis? It's just like, yes, I rule with an iron fist and I don't sleep super good, but man, I have so much money.
Yeah.
I hate my life.
Yeah. Like, I guess our point with this show is that we're talking about, like, when we talk about games, we're not just talking about games, we're talking about the society that creates them and the environment that creates them and
well, they're snapshots
the
of an
environment
era.
in which we play them. Right? They exist in a world, like...
Well, they sure don't exist in a vacuum.
Yeah, no, they definitely don't exist in a vacuum, and that there are no defaults. There are the defaults that are presumed by the makers, and that are interpreted by the viewers, right? But there's a system that exists between the two of them that is really interesting and that is worth talking about, right? Like, we come into Bioshock, and we immediately, like, we pick up a wrench, and we understand, because we're gamers, that we are intended to bonk the moving things on the head with a wrench until the stuff comes out of them.
Can you imagine how weird an experience that would be from someone who had never played a video game, like not even one, to just pick that up and, like, sort of figure out how to move around, and then just suddenly be obligated to wail on someone until they died?
Yeah.
I think that might be an arresting enough experience that they'd be like, fuck this, I'm out.
Like,
that was horrible.
Maybe we'll look at this in 100 years and be like, did you know that once people played video games to kill people?
What?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. Like,
to simulate. Well, yeah, maybe the reading is just like, oh, we use this to act out our most, like, primal instincts.
Yeah. Well, like, I read a book a couple of months ago called "In the Dust of This Planet," which was this, like, long essay on horror in literature. And one of the points he kept coming back to was that one thing you see in horror literature a lot, or in horror movies, is the idea of the magic circle, right? The it's usually scrawled in the ground in chalk, and you summon demons into it.
Right.
Right? And it's by necessity a safe space, right? Or you sit in it and you're protected from the demons.
Okay.
And his postulate on horror media was that it is a magic circle into which you can summon your demons, and they exist inside a specific context wherein they can't hurt you because they're inside a fucking book or a movie.
Or a video game.
Yeah. And then you can study them and interrogate them and demand things of them and then put them away. Right? And in the other context,
Interact with them.
Yeah, in the other context, it's also a place where you can be safe from them.
Well, I mean, that yeah.
Right? I think
that's
that's interesting. Like, I don't know what to make of that necessarily. I don't know how you would support that argument or prove that argument, but I think it's an interesting thought that might be useful in the way that we examine our media.
Well, it is interesting. Yeah, because like horror, it's like why do people like horror? Because it's fun to be scared in a situation that you know you can't actually come to harm.
Yeah.
Like, that's why roller coasters are fun. It's just like, I'm going to have the sensation of dropping through space and being, like, flung at 100 miles an hour, which, if I encounter that in real life, I'd probably be about to die.
Yeah.
But I can now experience that in mostly safety.
Yeah. Like, most of the context I have for a roller coaster would be, like, I have been hurtled through a windshield.
Yeah. Or, yeah, I just hit, like, a bollard that I didn't see behind a bush, you know, driving 70.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and suddenly that goes from, well, you know, you where you hear, like, I see skies of blue, to being like, this is fun, and I'm going to yell because it's fun.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
You know, it's just like those snapshots of people going through the House of Horrors. It's like, oh, I got startled. Oh, you know, my heart rate is up. I feel alive. I have the simulation of actual terror, but in a safe
or the reason people go, like, bungee jumping or skydiving.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like,
which are a little higher up on the danger scale because there are risks involved. But
yeah, you can actually just, like, you can actually roll the one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But it's like, you know, if you, I mean, instead of actually being kicked out of a plane, you intentionally, carefully jump out of a plane wearing a parachute.
Yeah.
Probably with a buddy. You know.
Oh, Cohen's Monster Theory. All right. Thank you, SL Reset. I'll have to check that out. Or SI Reset. Siriset? Sil Reset.
Yeah.
Neat. Actually, could you tweet that at me?
Do it. The actual danger zone!
Oh, I really would like to read about all that. So,
where the hell are we?
We talked about defaults. We talked about magic circles. We talked about the way that we are given to interact with the world in games. And, like, we even talked a bit about, like, how the formulas have been, like, narrowed down and focused and kind of shorn of a lot of things that don't work in the context of games, right? Like in Ultima Underworld, I remember you would talk to people and you had conversation trees, and they got rid of that. Like, they just, like, nope, that was cumbersome, and you could wind up in,
that's
like,
one way to deal with it. I mean, you could go either way. You could either just, like, remove a feature that you feel is unworkable, or you could try working it harder and coming up with something more interesting. You know, it's like you can either pare down features or try to improve them to the point where they do work and do accomplish what you want. And I feel as though, like, some games are sort of doing either. You know, you have these games that are taking more of an approach to where it's like, well, what if we had the dialogue trees, but we added, like, a lot more nuance to it? Like, we added a lot of, like, invisible flags and, you know, shit tons more dialogue, you know, like, and ways of delivering the dialogue trees in organic conversational, like, scenarios. Like, again, Oxenfree, which I've not played anything like it.
I really need to get that game.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, before we go on, we should probably talk about a bit what we're going to do next week. Do you want to do Infinite?
I mean, it kind of stands to reason.
Yeah, like, I mean, we're on a roll here. Let's say we're going to do
Let it ride.
Yeah, let it ride. We'll talk about Bioshock.
Well, like, all of
Infinite
the games. Like, we've not played 2, but I think we could probably
skip
that one.
2 was done by another company, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I've heard some good stuff about it,
Yeah.
but I've truthfully not played it.
I
I
would
have played
really-
Infinite, and fuck, there's a lot to talk about. in
Yeah,
the game.
like Infinite does a lot of interesting things, I think. I would actually argue that Infinite is a more interesting game than its detractors give it credit for, but its detractors definitely have a point, because that game does a lot of, like, problematic things as well.
Yep. But it does a lot of shit very right.
Okay.
A bunch of shit real wrong. I mean, it's certainly not guilty of being a bad game.
Yeah, I would also like to do Burial at Sea, although I've never actually played Burial at Sea.
Me neither.
But from what I understand, it goes, like, it recontextualizes Bioshock.
Wait, was it somebody who was saying that, like, it ties up all the loose ends, which I'm always
Wary
honestly
of?
very wary of.
Yeah.
Like any sort of thing where it's like, oh no, in this extra thing, they tie up every loose end so there's none left. I'm like, why? It kind of annoys me. Like, maybe it's fine, but it's just like, it feels weird to me personally, this, like, overpowering need to have everything all cleanly tied up and no loose ends left,
Like,
and
what-
not being left to, wonder and think about, it's like, well, maybe where did they go now?
Yeah.
I imagine it just, like, grates on some personalities.
Yeah, I mean...
It's just like,
and
this makes me uncomfortable thinking about this and not knowing the answer, and I need to have one.
The director's cut of Donnie Darko was supposed to have loose ends, right? So, Nana89012, I have been playing XCOM 2 at home, and we'll talk about that some other time. But, ambiguity is a really interesting thing, so I'm really of two minds of tying up loose ends. I like it when loose ends are tied up in a way that changes the way I approach something. But when it's just like, just so you know, we settled any ambiguity that existed in the original game, and now we're going to tell you what it all meant.
Yeah, I mean, that information I maybe want for the data book.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, but it's you know what it is? It's like documentary material, where it's just like when they're talking about, it's like, okay, here's what we were actually going for. But, like, putting it in the context of a story, my feeling is that you really, really see the meddling hands of the author just, like, going and, like, wrenching everything, like, into, like, its end point, where it's like, okay, everyth's settled, it's all nice and clean and boxed up, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
There's no loose ends. You can't, worry about anything. It's like a solid state thing. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Like, but yeah, if there's anything left about Death of the Author, to go back to an earlier fork in the conversation, I do think it applies to video games, and I think that's what can make them timeless. I don't know if there's anything to be said about corporate personhood in that, because video games are very seldomly made by a single person, right?
Yeah,
like a lot of the time, like, there will be a game director who's kind of like choosing what gets made and offering, well, direction on how to do certain things. But even then, you have a lot of people contributing a lot of different,
You know what? That might be an entirely
insights.
different episode, because the idea about, like, the craft itself and what effect that has.
Well,
on
I would
the
like to
game.
save that until we can get somebody who actually works in video games.
Yeah,
because
I would like to do that.
As viewers, I'd like to think that we're fairly insightful, but we don't really know how these things get made. Like, if we can wait until, like, we can get, one of our friends on stream and they can talk with a bit more insight into it, I think that would be really valuable.
Yeah, because I mean, it's similar to something like one person can write a book.
Yeah.
Or even a comic, or maybe shoot a short film. But as things get more ambitious in scope, and like you get into mediums like motion picture and especially video games, it becomes a group effort. You know? What, like, beyond a certain point of ambition and scope of game, it by necessity becomes a group effort.
Yeah.
There's very few games that are like as elaborate as one like this that are done by one person. And maybe one person could do it, but it would take them 30 years.
Yeah.
So that's probably why it doesn't happen. And there's something to be said for games that do have that clarity of vision as created by one person, you know, like Downwell, for example, which is just like so fucking clean it makes my teeth hurt.
Beautiful.
Or, you know, these, you know, the Shock games, which, you know, are this weird sort of tapestry of like stuff that works, stuff that doesn't work, stuff that's great, stuff that's like troublesome, you know, all together in this big, huge, like, spectacular thing.
Yeah.
You're like, holy shit, what the fuck does this mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, like, I mean, I've heard the argument before, I forget where, but, like, corporate personhood is so well established in our legal, like, canon that we kind of have to deal with it, right? And whatever it means in business areas, it has a very interesting interpretation in artistic circles, where you have films that are made by thousands of people, right? Existing to produce one kind
thing.
of... Yeah.
It's like, what kind of person made
yeah,
this?
Yeah. And that person is kind of a society, right? They are the product of a greater civilization.
Yeah, it's like when a country comes together, it's like, what, you know, Canada, what is our national cuisine? It's poutine.
Is it?
Apparently.
I can't eat it.
That sucks.
Beef gravy. Well, I can eat it.
Well, you can do veggie gravy.
Yeah. But there's like a sub-poutine, right?
Yeah. Or like, what was it, Wales? Cheese on toast?
Yeah, yeah.
The national dish, cheese on toast.
Welsh rabbit.
We'll put the grill. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm stealing material from Bill Bailey. I love him. But,
I have not played Flower.
Me neither.
I want to. We should do Journey on stream at some point, even though it's like... Journey is one of those things that's very clean and elegant and simple.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely one that's on our list. We have a bunch of other ones that are on our list. So I think I think Infinite next week, and then we can probably wrap up our kind of Shock series.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be 2 episodes. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll probably know about halfway through next week's Bioshock Infinite stream whether we'll need a second week. But, like, I anticipate that we might, because there's a lot of, like, even more so than Bioshock, Infinite has a lot of political things going on about it.
Well, I mean, it's sort of like an interpretation, like, alternate universe of, like, what was it, 18...
Well, it's if Bioshock is about, like, New Year's Eve, 1959, I've heard that Bioshock Infinite is about, like, July 4th, 1899, basically.
Yeah. So it's like, oh man, we're going to talk about some interesting stuff in American culture.
Yeah.
As through the lens of an alternate universe.
Yeah, and also through the lens of 2 Canadians peering over the border, going, oh,
oh, oh, oh, oh, oh.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're not like that.
Yeah, we're absolutely not.
We do not have a problem with racism in this country, I tell you what. This is his land.
Yeah. Not even.
Woo! Do we have anything else we want to talk about? You know what we could do with our last 15 minutes? Q's and A's.
Oh, yeah.
We can cue some A's.
Yeah, let's A your
Because
Q's.
the fucking game broke, we can cue some A's.
Yeah, like, we will A your Q's. So, you've got us for, like, 15 minutes here. AMA.
Amma.
How
do I get out of this chicken shit outfit? You secure that shit, Hudson. Oh, dear. Geoguess. No. We'll do subscriber thanks in the last, like, 5 minutes. That won't take long. Why the game broke? We don't know.
Yep. Have we either of us played EG? I haven't heard of it. I would love to I would love to talk about Alpha Centauri, but the gameplay is so decrepit at this point that it's
probably
honestly,
not aged well.
Yeah, and it takes its time getting to where it's going.
Have we seen
love
anything?
Alpha Centauri. It might be my favorite game ever. I'm not sure it's a good match for the stream.
Yeah. Have we seen anything? But we happy for you. Yeah, I'm interested tenuously. I didn't realize it's procedural.
Which one?
We Happy Few. It's like, it looks like sort of like psychedelic 60s kind of, you know, broken utopia where like everybody's taking this drug called joy, you know, and they're all like looped out, and then you like sort of fall off the bandwagon and realize that the whole place is fucked.
Right.
It looks cool. It's a horror game, but
Arakazi, how do you separate out ideas from identity? Do you do it, or is it all part of a whole for you? I think you have to be conscious of identity going in, and that makes the readings richer and more informative.
would we consider Rule of Rose because it's surreal and up to interpretation? That one's tough for a couple reasons, because it's like trigger warning, sexual violence everywhere.
Yeah.
And also the game plays like shit. Honestly, Rule of Rose is a fascinating game, and it's one of my favorite horror games, but God, it plays like dog shit. It was if you get a chance, like maybe do a let's play of it, but like don't play it yourself. Well, maybe play it yourself, but it's bad times. It is so clumsy.
We could definitely play Spec Ops: The Line at some point on this show.
It's probably worth it.
Yeah. I mean, we have to talk about Spec Ops: The Line in kind of the context of like early 2000s America intervention in the Middle East. But
what draws me to the Stalker games? Most don't call them fun. I would kind of agree with that. In a word, atmosphere. I love being in that place. Mm-hmm. And that's weird because that place is oppressive and desolate and hostile and just like really frightening. Mm-hmm. But I just like it's so my shit as far as like aesthetics are concerned. Because the gameplay for Stalker is not good. It's not terribly good. The dialogue is not good. The engine is not good. It's almost not even a rough gem. It's like, but there's just something there that like no other game does for me.
Okay, I have not heard of Kentucky Route Zero.
It's a weird one. I played a little bit of it, and I sort of like didn't finish playing it. But
I'll look into it.
Yeah.
What games do you think we'll never play on the stream, either for lack of things to say or any other reason? For better or worse, a lot of strategy games I don't think are a good fit for this because of their very time-intensive nature.
Well, and also just like I don't feel like there's a lot.
I mean, I would actually say that there is some stuff to talk about, but it would take like 10 streams to get a good like sampling of things to talk about.
Yeah.
I think that might just be too long. Like Alpha Centauri, I think, tells an amazing story that's very innovative, and that is 30 hours of gameplay in.
If we could make a video game together, what would it be? Hang on a sec. Oh, wait, where is it? We can make a video game together, and we had joint use of a game studio with vast resources. I'd make a game called Fight Fucker. I wouldn't actually. I don't know. I have too many ideas.
There are two games that I've wanted to make recently. One of them would be like a space combat simulator based loosely on... I'm not sure if you've ever read the Aliens Colonial Marines Technical Manual. Nerd. But it dealt with like a lot of orbital mechanics, and the space combat was basically like submarine combat, where they were like jockeying for position in orbits, because all the combat takes place in orbits, right? There's no deep space combat.
Interesting.
And you're trying to like line up your passes through orbits so that you can get like launch missiles at each other, but you're trying to like, you want to be in a higher orbit because I think you're faster in a higher orbit and harder to hit, but in a lower orbit you're more difficult to detect, and like there's this very like deep strategic element to it.
So it'd be like a naval simulator, but in 0G.
Yeah.
And less like something sort of like, well, I guess XCOM, where you're just like flight sim. It would be like maneuvering big cruisers.
Yeah, and you would have to be like, what do we want to do on this orbit, because we're locked into it for the next hour.
Or just like, okay, let's trace a path halfway, like let's slingshot this railgun round around this planet and hit another system over.
Yeah, you're slower in higher orbits, but I guess you have more potential energy.
Yeah.
Your missiles would have like longer range.
I had an idea sort of come to me. I bet that a lot of this came from me watching.
Lower orbits are faster.
The new Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Just the idea of like a desert full of like space wreckage, and you're just like a scavenger who's like looking for water and parts and shit, and just sort of like eating weird little space reptiles.
Yeah.
You're just like wandering around picking up, little useful transistors and shit.
Yeah. Oh, but sorry, I forgot to mention the other conceit with this game is that you are not actually the space army. You are the space program, right? And that you have been kind of conscripted into this role because you're the only one with like these spaceships.
Yeah.
And that you are basically the end game is you are trying to hold on until your planet gets its shit together to launch its actual military forces.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you think controversial shock value content in games has the potential to improve the story, mainly just a gimmick used to get people's attention? Yes and no.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the shock, I guess. Like, I mean,
So-
Piss Jesus is a thing that existed in Sculpture
Or
that
like-
got a lot of people's attention and is
Yeah.
still debatable, right? Like, I've heard Christians referring to that work. Like, it's, if you haven't heard of it, it is a jar of urine with a crucifix in it.
How very subversive.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
like I've heard Christians talk about it as being like, yeah, no, Christ was at his most powerful when he was degraded and humiliated and
Well,
like powerless.
So here's the thing, because I think you can do both, and there's also a third option
Mm-hmm.
here. You can have games like Hatred, which is
Mm-hmm.
just like, I'm gonna murder everyone. Isn't
Right.
that cool?
Yeah,
Where it's just like,
yeah,
you're just jacking off, and
Yeah.
that sucks. There's games that take, turn an unflinching eye to like really terrifying subject matter. There's not many of them.
yeah,
And are just like, look at this fucked up thing, and you're like,
Yeah.
ugh, that's interesting. I think the one that happens the most is games try to address a really like tricky, complicated, like, hot button issue, and they fuck it up.
yeah,
Like they fall flat on their face. They don't treat it with the respect that is required,
yeah,
and it ends up being offensive in some way because
Yeah.
like it's like maybe you did want to do a story about like sexual violence or something, and you just like didn't approach it with enough care, and now it's actually just like horrible and sexist.
yeah. It actually winds up perpetuating the thing that you were
Exactly.
trying to talk about.
It's like Metal Gear Solid 4. It's like, hey, what if we had a prisoner of war and we stuck a bomb up her? Wouldn't that be like creepy and weird and cool and tactical? That happens in one of those games. It's really kind of vile.
Ew.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, it's. I think I mentioned last time that it's like no topic should be off limits.
Yeah.
But some require more care than others, and you have to take that care, and not many people do.
Yeah. Oh, the space. The other one I wanted to do would be like the other game I wanted was like a time travel game where you are trying to go back in time to make your life perfect. And the mechanic would be like a stealth mechanic that you can travel back in time a certain amount of time, or you are back in the past for a certain amount of time. But as people notice you, you get less time because people notice you changing things.
That's pretty cool.
Right? So you have to be like very quiet and you have to try to fit in and you have to like change your past in a way that makes sense in context with the world that you were living in. So you have to like kind of grok the way that people did things back in your own past. And like to do things like I had an idea for the tutorial mission, which would be to turn on the soundtrack where you go back in time and you convince your parents to put you in music lessons when you're a kid, and then you get a soundtrack turned on.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What else do we have here? Akron? Don't know. I hate stream delay.
What else?
Oh, there we go. Thoughts on Bioshock in comparison and contrast to J.G. Beller's High Rise. Fuck, that's one I
Oh,
haven't.
High Rise is on at Cinecenta at UVic this week. I think it's on tomorrow.
I kind of want to see it.
Yeah, I think it's the 15th and 16th.
Because, okay, here's the thing. I can't use, I've not been able to use my dad as a barometer for whether I'm going to like movies or not for a long time because he hated it. And he really loves the short story.
Right.
And I I don't know if I should watch the movie then read the book or vice versa, because like I've not done either, shamefully.
Yeah.
But
I've read a bit of Ballard. I've not read High Rise, actually, but I can definitely see a comparison to it, where you have like this very British idea of like a consumerist, high class society, living in a perfect building that decays, right? Because you don't consider externalities.
Interesting. Is there a point where the unpleasantness of an interactive experience prevents people from being able to interact and engage with it, like being too depressing, terrifying?
I would think so. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure. Like, I don't. It's not an experience that I think I've had very often. Like, I can't think off the top of my head.
I think that's one of the functions of privilege, is that you aren't made unable to proceed through your culture's media because of your own upsetting experiences. Right?
Like,
and I mean, like, that I think you acknowledge that, but you don't.
I've had some very upsetting experiences in my mind, or in my life, but none that have really been struck upon in media in a way that really made me like drop it. Like, I can't think off the top of my head what like a game that I was just like, I can't do this anymore. But I'm sure that's an experience that lots of people have, where it's just like, this game's too sad, or like, this, I didn't expect to encounter this thing that I find really upsetting in it, and now I can't play it because I feel sick. So yeah, it might happen. Yeah, I have zero interest in playing a genocide run of Undertale. It sounds awful.
Also, I tried playing a Renegade Shepherd in Mass Effect, and I was just like, I don't want to be an asshole for no reason. Because it's also like the dark side runs in Knights of the Old Republic, where you're just a dick to people for no reason, other than it makes you powerful.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a very kind of like Purell understanding of like evil, is that being a dick to people makes you powerful. You're just a bully. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's better to be feared than loved, and you don't sleep so good, and your life sucks. Do you think video games can help someone actually deal with some of the vagaries of life in lieu of actually having to go through some rather upsetting experiences? That's a tough one to answer, because it's like, could you simulate an upsetting scenario to sort of, I guess, inoculate you against that experience?
I don't know.
I don't even know if anyone has ever made anything close to that.
I think I don't know, because I'm not like a psychologist, right?
Same.
I think that's kind of a thing that you would need a clinical understanding of people to understand, and even then, like, you would vary person by person.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that. I certainly think it would be something maybe worth exploring.
Yeah.
It sounds very fraught, but it could be super helpful. You know, it's like video games, you know, here's another application that they may be encountering. It's like, you know, supposing you created a video game that helped someone who had a traumatic experience, like, work through that in a virtual space. We talked about the magic circle. It's like, what if that was utilized to help someone, you know, kind of cope with and come to understanding of their own actual trauma?
Yeah.
I think that's a thing that video games could accomplish. I think it would be fucking hard.
Yeah.
I think that would be enormously hard.
Well, like, right now, those kinds of, like therapy takes years.
Yeah.
Right? And it isn't like a cure-all. Right? It gives you the tools you need to process through things, but yeah. Sorry, go back to Mass Effect. I think the worst thing about Renegade Shepherd is that you wind up in the same place as Paragon Shepherd anyway. Only you've hurt way more people.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that way when I played Dishonored, because the first time I played it, I generally stuck to a bloodless run, and then I did like a clean hands run, and then I started again, and I tried to do a high chaos run, and I don't think I made it out of the prison. I was like, this feels weird. I feel like I'm just like butchering these schlubs who just have shitty jobs. Like, why the fuck am I murdering these people? This is weird. Like, it felt very not okay to me.
Yeah.
which is an interesting experience that I've not had with many games before. So it was cool. Well, I mean, it's interesting because like people, this brings us right back to the beginning of the show, Pokemon Go, which has apparently been helping some people.
Yeah, with
who
like
have,
severe anxiety.
Yeah, and depression, just like getting them outside, getting them to like sort
Interact
of
with
socialize.
people and move around.
And I think that's fucking nuts. That's great.
Well, like Pokemon Go is this thing where it is non-stop reward,
Yeah.
right? Like there is no, the only task is going outside and moving around. And once you do that, it's just candy, right? You get rewarded, no penalties, no adversity, no hidden dangers, right? It's just go outside and go to these places and experience, like get things.
Well,
for
like
it.
I think Dan Edmonds was talking about gamifying education and maybe also just like therapy, like physiotherapy,
Okay,
you know, emotional therapy. Like this is fucking exciting stuff. You know, we're seeing something utilized in this way that is having, you know, very positive effect on people. Like, let's not lose sight of the fact that there have been some deleterious effects to this. You know, people getting mugged.
Yeah.
You know, going outside, but it's just like,
yeah.
you know, you take one with the other. So,
Yeah.
as with any new and interesting technology, there's bound to be kinks.
Yeah. Well, and especially like Pokemon Go, like you have to be able.
Yeah, I didn't actually read that article that Andrew posted. I guess I probably should.
Yeah, I should too. I saw it, but like like just the title brought up like a valid point that you know you have to be mobile to play Pokemon Go.
Yeah. I mean, is there like an accessibility option that they could have? I don't know.
Yeah.
That sounds like.
But like Pokemon Go feels like the future, and I'm sure that this clip will get like gifified and used against me when nobody's playing Pokemon Go in 4 days.
We're just like, hey,
and now it's the
when
punchline to a joke.
It's like, remember Pokemon Go? LOL.
No.
LOL.
No.
LOL. Catching them all.
Yeah.
Well, we went overtime, so let's.
Okay. Yeah. Let's thank subs.
Let's thank subs.
Okay.
Right.
Batin subs. Oh, Batten.
Batten.
It's right there. Batten subscribed for the second straight month with the note, it's pronounced Bat-in.
Incantatio for 35 months.
Reinhard subscribed for 11 months in a row with Whatcha Catch.
Jade Warrior, Go Team Valor, 3 months.
Dryosen3 subscribed for 3 months with Would you kindly disobey this message?
No! Quantum Dot subscribed for 23 months in a row.
Sub hype. Godeki subscribed for 23 months in a row.
Cirrus429 for 10 months.
Sleepy Person subscribed for the 5th straight month, saying Uns Kazoo.
I think that's an emote. Budget DM subscribed for 6 months. Love this game, but I've only beaten it once.
Ooh. Snorsh Tourist Board Intern subscribed for 5 months in a row, saying so excited Bioshock is one of my faves.
A clever guy with a clever handle, 12 months a year. Love you guys, always enjoy hearing your insights. Sorry I couldn't be there to hear the sub shoutouts, but I finally have a job.
Congratulations. Happy 1 year anniversary of the guy with the clever handle. Canadian Rob subscribed for 13 months in a row, saying love you guys and we need the smiles.
Echo Browser for 29 months.
Tendrils of Swagony resubscribed for 2 monds in a row. Yeah.
I'm going to put these copies on the stack.
Yeah.
And to Big Ivan for 3 months. 3 months since Twitch screwed over my 30-month streak. Oh, boo! 33 months!
33 months.
We remember. Oh, fantastic. All right.
Okay. Well,
so we'll see you
next week.
Next week, and also, what's on tomorrow?
Tomorrow we are doing a board game. It's not Warhammer Silver Tower for the people who've been...
Is it The Thing?
It might be The Thing, actually.
Okay,
I
well,
think it's The Thing.
It might be The Thing.
I know that's terribly unhelpful.
It might be a game
Yeah.
that we will be playing.
Yeah.
And you will probably like it.
Yeah,
So,
hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay.
I hope it didn't set expectations too high, but
No,
yeah,
well,
we'll
I mean, like, it should be pretty cool.
We'll see you later.
Yeah. Bye, everyone, and thank you. Also, final note, thank you very much to everyone who subscribed. Your support makes this show possible. Also, thank you to everyone who supports us on our Patreon at www.patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, where the Patreon also supports streams
Please
and
patronize
other
us.
Yeah.
Condescend us.
Yeah. I may come back in a few minutes to play Warhammer. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll walk home and play Pokemon. You'll know in the next 10 minutes. I'm very sorry I can't be more definitive than that, but I have to see how I feel.
Mm-hmm. All
okay.
right. Adios.
Toodles.
Where's the button? There's
No, hit the button.
Ah!